Hello, everyone, and welcome to OpenCast. I am Vashi V, and we are doing Kamen Rider Wizard, so this is the WizardCast. I am joined today with.
Rye.
Drago.
And zero.
So I watched Kamen Rider Wizard, and I initially skipped it when I was going through the series because it had gotten like poor reviews and it didn't seem like it was worth the time. But then after hearing some different perspectives about it, I decided to finally give it a chance. So let's start off by talking about Haruto, Wizard. The first thing that caught me off guard about him was that I was kind of expecting him to. I don't know. I just got the impression that he would have been like more of a secret identity type of rider, and he is very much not that.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
first time he henshins on screen is in front of the police.
yeah. It was quickly apparent that he just did not give a fuck.
I mean, if you have gone through some traumatic experience and survived that, then I don't think you would even give a fuck.
Well, I didn't even know like what his backstory was before I actually started watching. I just knew he was a wizard.
Yeah, he's a very showy wizard.
I
Uh,
mean, he did like it does match his like personality. Like yeah, like Drago said, like if you survive what he survived, like who gives a shit about the cops? They can't do anything. And then the other thing is like you have to remember like he was a pretty cocky asshole before he became wizard. Um, right? And now you give him like magical powers on top of that. So like I mean, even when he like gets caught by the cops, like his first thing is like, "Oh, whatever, I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna be a smartass and then like escape out of here with no problem, right?" Like, it
He
doesn't even occur to him that like the cops might get have him arrested until like he gets arrested.
At least he doesn't break out until one of his familiars comes back with word of the phantom he was chasing after. So he doesn't just like immediately break out. Uh, I actually I like that the first arc of the show doesn't even really focus that much on him. He's just there to be the hero, but it focuses more on the gates that he's protecting in this slice of life story. It's different for a Rider series, but I actually really like it, and it is the high point of the series, unfortunately.
yeah, the first couple of the first around I think until a bit after Beast shows up, till that point it actually is really good as far as the victim of the day stories go. And also, Wizard kind of acts like I think they were trying to make. I don't know what they did. Wait, what was that? Yeah, Tendo. I think they were trying to do the Tendo thing. Like Wizard just shows up and then beats the Phantom, and the story is not about Wizard but about the other people. Uh, yeah, that's the kind of vibes I got when I saw Wizard for the first time. Uh, but yeah, and also the it does match that both Haruto and Tendo are very cocky as riders, and yeah, and it also shows experience from his perspective as well, because he has been a rider for a while.
Like the experiencing to me is personally what I feel is like the difference between Tendo and Haruto, because as far as we can tell, there really was no henshin for Tendo until he became Kabuto in the series, ignoring the whole alternate timeline wibbly wobbly stupid shit. So his arrogance was just bullshit, whereas Haruto's cocky attitude fits. He has that attitude of I'm the only guy who can deal with this. I'm gonna deal with this. Screw you, out of my way, kind of mentality. But yeah, the fact that the entire first arc was literally just him showing up toward and just wrecking the Phantom at the end, and the entire plot at that point was world building with the gates. I freaking loved it, and like you said, Riot was kind of the high point of the series.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe not the highest point. Like, I don't know. Wizard has like different characters have different high points. But yeah, like it's mostly because like everybody was there and like they had like a coherent vision at the beginning of Wizard, whereas like as long as the show went on, like a lot of like behind the scenes shit happened that kind of like muddied everything up. As for
No,
like why like
that's just it. Like that's why I'm saying like the beginning was the best.
um yeah, I'd say yeah, it's probably the most solid section of Wizard. Um, as for like Haruto himself, like he's pretty interesting, but then again, you have to remember like Wizard was supposed to be like Forze was the year right before this, and the thing was like we had like okay decade that was really shaky, but then we had like Double, which was great, like popularity wise, and then like O's, which was also great, and probably had like the highest sales at that time. Probably still does. I don't know. So yeah, that was really solid. And then like Forza, which kind of crashed and burned. Sort of like it wasn't terrible, but like it was nowhere near as much of a success. And it's mostly because like they're like, oh shit, we went too far with like the gimmicks and everything. Um, and like people are like tone it back, so they're like okay, Wizard was supposed to be like the throwback rider, like classic show off formula trying to come back. I mean it's interesting that you guys mentioned like Tendo from Kabuto, because Kabuto is also an anniversary series, so like maybe they're pulling some parallels from that. But like yeah, Haruto kind of acts like the older writers, like older writers not at the beginning of their show like the Showa writers, but more like the Showa writers sort of once their like plot has been established, so like 10 episodes in or whatever, where they just show up, they do the thing, and then they're gone, and it's more like it focuses on the people that they save mostly, because you have to remember like Haruto's been doing this for like 6 months, so that's what his character kind of, yeah, he has a very like Showa writer thing going on, and for that way I think like how they wrote him fit. But yeah, he is pretty different than most writers after Decade.
It worked out really well too. He's got his four forms, and then they just build off of those, and that's all he really needs to be. And I do like the justification for his character. So when it comes to the main writers in the series, it comes down to like, well, what makes this person so special that they're able to do all this? For Kabuto, he just did. That's all. That's all his character was. Yeah, I just can. But for Haruto, we actually see in his backstory, like on the brink of despair, he didn't give up hope, and he was able to hold on to that and fight back. And that's what makes him so special here. And that's why he's kind of the way he is. It was such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, you know what? This wizard you mentioned the forms. The forms kind of resemble Cougar's forms.
Yeah, I was thinking Kugo as I was saying that.
Yeah, because like there's the base four forms, and then there's upgrade, and then there's the combination one. I mean, the one right before the final form, and then there's the final form.
And really, that's all we need. It works out really
Yeah.
well. Not the thing about build is that like okay, so he has all these different forms. They all feel the same.
No, in the beginning they did feel a bit different, but yeah, as the series went on, the forms were so forgotten.
Like I'd rather have If we have to have like 15 different forms, then I'd rather have those forms spread out amongst multiple riders than have them all stacked onto one rider.
Yeah, that was a very much missed opportunity opportunity in build, that they could have given half the forms to Cross, Grease, a Rogue or whatever, and everybody would have could have used the build drive. But then again, toy money.
It's and that's one thing that like felt really good for me about Wizards. I was like, nope, he's just got his basic forms, and then those get upgraded, and that's all it is. Nothing so overly complicated, and then every form feels unique. Especially since some of his attacks differ based on which form he's using, like his defend.
Well, it's like, and then add into the fact that, like, just in terms of like accessories were cut down drastically too for Wizard, because you go to Forge and it's just accessory city.
40th years of Kamen Rider, so let's give him 40 different fucking whatevers to shove in his belt.
Let's give him a radar, because yeah.
Strap a
But
Gatling gun to his leg, I don't care.
it's like, whereas Wizard, throughout most of it, it's just what, the gun sword and the axe.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then there's the Drago timer and the gun of Beast,
Right.
Hyper Magnum. Yeah.
It- we'll get to Hyper Beast in a bit. That giant clusterfuck is a piece of shit.
Uh, so, yeah, that's basically it though. Wizard was a lot more focused in his theming. Forze had the astronaut theme, and then he had a bunch of switches that rarely had anything to do with being an astronaut. Wizard, oh, okay, so he's magic. He can use the different elements. There we go, that's his theme. Also, here's a ring that gives off a really bad smell.
Yeah, I mean, he was basically one element away from being able to summon Captain Planet.
Okay, the thing about Captain Planet is that it was originally just the four kids, and then Heart got introduced later.
Okay.
So,
As of now, Heart has been introduced. Heart is required.
but
He can't.
Wizard is basically
summon
Captain
Planet without-
America. Wizard is basically Captain Planet. I almost said Captain America.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
his final form is Captain Planet.
Yeah, so basically, Heart from Drive, you gives him his power to Wizard, and then he can become Captain Planet in his full glory.
But that's a lot on Haruto. Let's talk about some of the supporting cast. Shunpei. Why is he on this show?
I have no idea. I didn't have any idea at the end. He was the most useless.
He was the
character in this
most
show,
useless.
period.
Every single thing he did could have been given to Rinko? Yeah, Rinko.
Yeah, Ringo was such a cool character actually in the beginning. Even around the middle and the end as well. Some of the episodes. Shunpei, however, oh my god, he was annoying as shit.
Like my issue with Shunpei is it's the, for lack of a better term, the beast issue, except the main rider didn't know what the fuck to do with him.
That
Like, his character in the first couple of episodes started out very well. It was really well thought out and had a strong drive for what his character was intended to do. And then they just fucking ignored it and basically made him a gopher.
like he was written in to be Haruto's assistant, and then they realized, well, there's nothing for him to actually do. So, okay, we already signed a contract with the actor.
Let's make him the comic relief. and that's basically the role he gets relegated to. He does have a few good moments throughout the series, but most of it is either comic relief or, hey, get the gate out of here.
You know what? I would have just replaced the. I don't know why, but I think the old man Wachima should have just gone for a business trip, and Junpei should have given him the ring business like for a while. I think that would have helped his character a bit, like him making trying to make rings for Wizard, and then him giving him some power up or something. That would have been a good plot for him, but they never did that. They didn't do that well. If I don't remember it well, but I don't think they did that with him.
I mean, they do end up doing that by the end of Wizard, but like, I know what you're saying is like, oh, get rid of Wajima, and like at least we'll have something for him to Shunpei to do. But the problem is that like, then how the fuck does like Shunpei know how to make rings? You know, at least for Wajima, it kind of makes sense. Also, like, it does sort of make sense where like why it's Wajima and stuff because it's like it's the older generation kind of like fucking over the new one sort of thing. Like Wizard has a lot of themes and like they're kind of mixed here and there because like okay, mostly like the thing is Shunpei was always supposed to kind of be comic relief because the show is oh shit, our monsters make people commit suicide. You know, like that is the theme. You need a light-hearted character to fucking balance the crazy. The problem is like Koyumi's actress, which is basically the plot, wasn't around for the middle bit, and therefore like Shunpei now has to fucking fill in the airtime, which sucks. I know they should have written it better, but I think like the main writer for Wizard, this is a series that he like head is the head writer for. The problem is like Toei kept like fucking his show over, like constantly adding useless shit. So I think by the middle part he just like gave up caring. He's like, okay, I know where it wants it ends. I've already done the beginning part, like whatever. I just have to fill out the episodes. I think that's sort of what happened. Um, right? Like, because the thing is, like, Shunpei starts out really good, and it's like super sad. His like introduction episode. Oh man, like I can't watch that. When like he goes on like the TV station, I'm like, ah, it's so fucked up, man. But and then like later on at the end, he's pretty good too because he's kind of like the human character. He's like, what the fuck are you assholes doing? Like fuck the greater good. We can't like start sacrificing people just so we get more wizards out of it potentially to make our jobs easier. It's like no, this is fucking wrong. Like you guys should be heroes. Like he's good at the beginning, he's good at the end. In the middle, he just doesn't have anything to do. As for, I guess I'll go back for the forms of like, yeah, I guess we just did wizard. We'll get to beast. Okay, like I'd really like wizard's forms. They're really nice and functional. The problem is you guys are like, oh, he doesn't have that many accessories. All right, he does. There are so many fucking rings. All right. The problem is like the base forms are good and great. It's just all the other rings are pretty cool too, but like they show up like once an episode and never again because there's so many of them. It's the build problem, but they don't have forms. They just cost CGI. Therefore, we only use them one episode and never again until like we use them kind of in the movie, but not even that much. But like again, you have to remember this is before Toei had their own like CGI department fully set up. Like Gaim, Gaim is the one that had it. That we finally got the CGI stuff. Like maybe started. Yeah, we definitely had it set up by like Drive because Drive like half the suits barely fucking can move because we have so much CGI going on. Um, But yeah, like the problem is like Wizard, all his rings have like insane CGI effects, and like they're not like the simple ones where we have now, where it's like, oh, it just fills the screen or whatever. No, it's like, oh, this makes him huge, or this makes him or this like shrinks it, and it's like it's complicated shit that takes time, especially when you don't have a pipeline, ready to render this stuff. So therefore, they only get like one episode, which kind of annoys me because like Wizard is so insanely powerful if he ever used like all of his shit, but like he only uses the base forms, and those are pretty strong too because of how much stuff he does with them. But like even then, because he can't win this episode, he gets his ass kicked. Like later on, like in the beginning, you saw like he's so competent, like he's so good at fighting, but like later on, he just keeps getting his ass kicked because that's what's supposed to happen in a writer show, and it's so annoying. Like there's a super simple explanation they could have done to fix that, which is like, okay, the Phantoms they throw out like the minion things, like it's
Balls.
fucking Sentai or some shit. But the thing is, like, the simplest fix was like, okay, the stronger the Phantom, the stronger the minions, and that would have fixed it because then you're like, oh, how come Harta's having a hard time? Well, like by the end, you could just say like, well, one of the minions is like as strong as one of the like early episode Phantoms, or like slightly weaker. Therefore, having to deal with like 10 of these assholes is like really tough. It could have been such a simple solution.
Uh, you know, that would have been a really good solution. Yeah, but I don't think the writers even thought about that, and rather they focus on the action scenes a bit, and also the behind the scenes stuff was a nightmare. It seems during Wizard.
Uh, that is a good point. That he did have a lot of rings. They're just like not as emphasized as Forza's switches were. But the thing about, I'm still not done talking about Shunpei here. Shunpei, yeah, at the end of the series is like, I'll become an apprentice and learn how to make rings. Okay, first off, that comes out of nowhere. And second off, why didn't you do that like 50 episodes ago? It it would have given him more purpose in the show. If like, alright, so he becomes Wajima's apprentice and starts learning how to make the rings. Instead, we got a new familiar that delivers Haruto a ring once and then never does anything else in the show again.
Okay, I mean, like, I think the reason why they did, there's two reasons. Like, the reason why they had to give Shunpei, like, oh, now you are apprentice, is because that's what happens in the movie. So it's like, well, we already established this plot line. Um, and the other thing is, like, why we couldn't give it to him, I think, is, like, then each ring becomes important. And we can't have that because, like, the only things important are the form rings. Like, the spell rings are cool, but they don't do anything. Right? Because, like, again, we don't have time. It's so annoying. It's like, this is the problem with Wizard. It's like, it has such great characters, like, so much potential. It's just like for one reason or another, like if it's the meddling, if they just didn't have, like, the CGI department, if they didn't have the budget or whatever, it just gets fucked over. It's so sad, man. It could have been such a great show. Um, as for like I don't know. I think the problem is, like, if we gave Shunpei even more screen time, like the pratfalls and stuff, and like him just being Wizard's assistant who like makes people, like, takes them to safety, it's kind of annoying. But at least it's like we don't have to write another plot line, you know. Whereas he's like, oh, he's just the guy who shows up to help, you know.
So,
That's basic stuff. But the thing is, like, Wizard has like 5 wizards, right? And like then Koyomi has their own plot line, the Phantoms have their own plot line, Wajima has his own plot line, like Section Zero and Rinko kind of have their own plot line. And it's
Section
like
Zero
so
doesn't
much
do
shit going.
anything.
I know, but like when they first show up, they
They,
could have, like, this is the problem. Like, everybody can do something.
uh,
Oh.
so Shunpei's best episode takes place in the first arc, where we're getting mostly slice of life about the gates. He runs into an old friend of his, and that friend's boss is the gate, and their pastry shop is going out of business, and Shunpei does everything he can to try and help them sell more and such. It doesn't work, and he ends up leading the Phantom right to them, but it is the most earnest Shunpei is in the entire show, and it shows the best potential for his character. If if he focused from that point on more on helping the Gates rather than trying to help Haruto, he would have a much better character and he would have an actual role on the show. Instead, he just kind of helps get them out of the way and whatnot. But then that comes with the other problem of after the first arc, the show stops being about the Gates and starts being about the Riders. And so we're not really getting those slice of life storylines anymore. So Shunpei doesn't even have anything to work off of anyways.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like the problem is like they stop caring about the gates, and therefore like Shunpei's entire like that's the same thing with like Rinko. Like she can't do anything because like oh what do? You just show up and you take them to safety. The end. You know, like I mean she could do. Okay, we'll get into Rinko, but yeah, it's the problem of like the gates don't have anything. It's like oh well, what's the Phantom's thing of like making the gate despair? Oh, I'll just try to kill you, and like 30% to 50% of the gates in the show have that as their Phantom's like plan. It's so fucking annoying. It's like they stop caring.
Like early on, that's where the Gates start until they can learn a weakness, but then later on they just stop learning weaknesses. It's like, yeah, whatever. And then they will still at times, but just conveniently, like there's no real story put into it. Sometimes the Gates are just smarter than that, but still. Phantoms, rather. Both, whatever. Drago, you're giving up a lot of feedback. Hey, Chatty Horse.
Hello.
Hey, we've talked about Haruto and Shunpei. If you want to catch up and give your thoughts on those characters.
Alright. Well, do you want my overall thoughts of the show for later, or do you want me to like give a quick summation of how I feel about Wizard?
We're just talking about the characters right now. We'll get into the series as a whole later.
Okay. Haruto, when I was watching the show, I liked Haruto plenty. I thought he was interesting, and I liked how of a laid-back character he was. And I thought his little donut thing was kind of cute. Yeah, just Haruto's very inoffensive to me. People call him bland. I don't agree. I think he has plenty of character. My problem with Haruto is that his backstory is like rewritten like 3 fucking times. Like they can't decide. Well, that's how it comes off to me. Like he has like 3 points in his life, which could be like the source of his despair that caused his phantom, and I'm like, can they pick one? Like I thought it was the parents thing, then it was him being suicidal in high school, then it was the soccer thing. I'm like I get characters have layers, and there could be many layers to have being depressed, but I'm just like, the show established that you only need one source of despair that could bring out your phantom if you have magic inside you. And Haruto has like 3. I don't know if it's supposed to be symbolic of how powerful he is or something like that, but I always found it really... I just thought it was unnecessary. It's not bad, it's just unnecessary. I just thought it was kind of confusing. So...
He wasn't suicidal.
Yeah, it's the teacher made a mistake.
The teacher thought he was going to jump off a bridge because he may have had depression, but he was not actually suicidal. He wasn't going to do anything.
Well, okay, my apologies. I haven't watched Wizard since it aired, so
that's fine.
It's fine. I think the thing that actually caused like the first stage phantoms is like, oh shit, we're gonna die, because like the ritual at the beginning is like, holy shit, we're literally all going to die, and that's where all the phantoms came from.
Yes.
Then it just like what their personalities are like based on who they were, and it's the exact opposite, like Phoenix.
But I do remember that. There are things I remember about Wizard pretty vividly. They're just some things I don't remember. So,
Yeah, and as for the
um,
parents, I think the parents thing is just to establish that like the reason why he didn't die is because like his parents both died and they're like their last dying wish was like, live on, be the hope because you're our
Yeah.
hope. And so
yeah,
like that's why he
yeah,
didn't.
yeah. It was sort of like it was the start of the despair, but that was also the start of him trying to have hope. It does make sense. Like this is the thing with Kamen Rider. Like each main character has to have some form of tragedy, which makes him worthy of being a hero. And this is pretty much Haruto's tragedy for the most part. But yeah, I like Haruto just fine. I thought it was pretty entertaining. I have no real complaints with him, but just besides my bit of a confusion with like just like what felt like three backstories for why he is the way he is, which I just thought it was a bit silly, but that's just me. Shunpei, that's the comic relief of the show, right?
Yeah, the useless one.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm one of the few people that don't hate Shunpei. Yeah, I can see why people got annoyed with him. I totally understand, but honestly, compared to later seasons with characters like Onari and Poppy, he is nowhere near as bad as them, in my personal opinion. He's nowhere near as obnoxious. He doesn't mug to the camera like a bloody monkey, and most of the comedy from him just comes with the fact that he's kind of he's a bit clumsy and stuff like that, and like he he just has more of a character than Onari to me. Like, what was Onari's character again?
His
He
name meant
was
fart.
just
Well, he's like a monkey in training and he just believes in the spiritual stuff and is kind of like an over the top asshole. Like he's fun, but the thing is like it's the exact opposite of Shunpei, where it's like in the beginning Anar is super annoying, but like in the middle he gets good, and at the end he's okay. Whereas like
well,
Shunpei
I
is like
just
he's
well, I sorry
oh, go
about
ahead.
that. You go ahead. Sorry about that. You go ahead. You want
Oh,
to finish
I
your
was just gonna say like Shunpei's kind of best moments are like at the beginning, at the end. In the middle, he kind of just exists. And I think that's what like most people dropped out of Wizard like midway, so I think that's probably why they
Oh,
think like Shunpei is super annoying, which I don't. Like he's
I,
okay. He's not that bad.
I don't
yeah,
even think he's super annoying. He just doesn't have anything to do on the show, and so I have to wonder like why he's still there.
You know who he
yeah.
should have? Yeah, sorry. He should have been Kotaro from Blade, and it would have made
That
perfect sense.
it would have been
I have yet to watch
so
Blade.
nice. So Kotaro from Blade is writing a book about the Kamen Riders, and Blade doesn't have a place to stay, so he lets him stay with him if he becomes his research material. And that's his
Huh.
role,
Okay.
and that's what he offers to the show.
All right. But yeah, Shunpei doesn't bother me. I can understand why people would think he's utterly meaningless to the plot, but then again, he's supposed to be the comic relief, so he's supposed to be there. He's supposed to be there to make the 5-year-old audience giggle. So, man, honestly, I find there to be a lot worse comic relief characters in Tokyo, especially in shows like Ghost. Because for the record, I hate Ghost with a burning passion. It's my least favorite Kamen Rider series, so everything about Ghost just makes me very, very, very angry. So,
Okay, so this
yeah,
is
the
really
reason I'm not going off.
no, no,
Sorry.
no. I was gonna say this is really funny because like I guess we both agree on Wizard, and then you're like, I hate Ghost with the burning passion. I'm like Gaim for me, but then you're probably gonna be like, no, I actually like Gaim.
Gaim's
So
my
that's
favorite.
yes, I know, I know. I was watching your video. I was like, oh, this is great because the Wizard one's gonna be hilarious. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
uh,
but yeah, Shunpei's fine. He doesn't offend me whatsoever. There's no character in the show that offends me. The only point in the show that there's only one thing about this show that made me angry, but that was only like one scene in one episode because it made absolutely no sense to me.
Oh, do
And
you
we'll
want to
get
talk
to that when
about?
we get to that
Okay, talk to
character.
it later. Okay. So
Yeah.
If you scroll up in the chat there and you see all those pictures I posted of Beast putting mayonnaise on everything, that doesn't offend you?
No, because I found oh, what's his name again? I've been a while. I'm trying. Uh, what's his name again?
Nito?
Nito. I love Nito. I thought he was a very charming secondary writer. I didn't find the mayonnaise thing. I did the mayonnaise thing never. I found the mayonnaise thing funny and well, it's just a dumb gag. It's pretty inoffensive to me. So, and I like Nito a lot. I thought he was funny. He's one of the most unique secondary writers I've seen. Because most secondary writers are basically like the brooding emo badass, and then you have characters like Date from O's and now Nito, where they're not that kind of character, and it's just very refreshing to me. And like I thought he was done pretty well. So yeah, I like Nito a lot. He's a hoots. I like a lot of the comedy comes from him. In Superhero Tyson Z, he has one of my favorite lines. Like he called one of the metal heroes a walking candy wrapper. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I was thinking of that movie too. My favorite one from that is like they're being all dramatic. It's like, oh no, one of you magic users has caused this, and Nitu walks out. Is like, yes, it was me, and they're like all ready to like throw down. It's like, nah, not really.
Yeah, like Nito's a hoot. Like he's unique. I like his character. I like his backstory where he just stumbled upon this crap. So it's like I don't want any of this. This just happened to me. I was just searching a tomb and I found this belt, and he said, and I don't, I just found this belt. Um, um, a spirit inside me. And now uh, just a warning. I stutter a lot. When I think too damn fast. So, um, what? So yeah, he didn't want any of this. Like he was just I think it was an archaeologist or
Yes,
a miner.
he was an archaeologist.
Yeah, he was an archaeologist. He was just going around searching for old crap. And so he just stumbled upon the belt and he puts it on and just because he was searching for crap, he now has this thing inside him. He now has this thing inside him, basically constantly going, "Feed me." So, just I find
So,
that is both simultaneously hilarious and tragic at the same time.
so yeah, since we're already on the subject, let's keep talking about Kamen Rider Beast. I love his theme. I love his gimmick. He's a chimera. He has primal magic. He has to keep feeding on phantoms to replenish his magic supply, or he'll die. It is such good setup. And as a rider, I like him as a rider. As a character, he kind of makes Shunpei seem useful.
How dare you, sir?
like again, I don't even hate Shunpei, but like I think Nito is better comic relief than Shunpei because and because most of Shunpei's comedy just comes from the fact that he's clumsy and kind of a moron. When Nito, it just comes from like his dialogue and like his responses to things and just again the mayonnaise gag, which it never annoyed me. I don't know why. Like you think it would because gags to me can get very annoying depending on what kind of gag it is. But the mayonnaise gag, it was never overdone for me. Like it wasn't constantly they didn't constantly shove into my face saying, "Hey, he likes mayonnaise. He likes mayonnaise. Did you know you like mayonnaise? Laugh, kids, laugh." It never came off to me like that. So, yeah, that's just me. I'm trying to.
Yeah,
think what
Drago or
else.
Vachi, you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah, I like Beast. I mean the entire concept of the rider, and I like the character as well. He didn't do much. Like I mean, like he didn't do much the entire show, but he had some awesome highlight moments. in the series, which I really enjoyed. And he's also mannerism that the background was also pretty good in and his conversation with other characters as well. And yeah, the mayonnaise gag didn't bother me either, so for some reason. And
I
but
thought it could be
one of the
funny. Sorry.
it didn't it wasn't funny as it wasn't funny after a point because it was overdone until the wizard movie where he was fishing for mayonnaise.
That was so dumb.
That
I
was so
have not.
dumb.
I have
That
not.
was great. Okay, it was so
I
stupid.
just for
It's a
clarification,
magical world. Why not?
yeah, sorry.
Also, he what does it say? Like, if you go inside his tent, he has like the mayonnaise bottle strung up like dried fish. It's like what ancient magic.
Yeah.
You're a Mike Drago.
Oh,
Uh,
Like,
But sorry. I have not seen the Wizard movie. Just for clarification.
like Beast as a character, as a writer, his base form. I loved his base form. The only thing that killed me with it was his chance finisher, which was a fantastic idea. Like it was fantastic, but the point of it being, one being the weakest, six being the strongest, kind of lost its meaning after a while. Because
yeah.
there were times where he'd roll a 2 and defeat the monster. It's like, well, what's you know, the whole chance thing? Is this basically all it came down to is if you rolled a 1, you fucked. That was about it.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes he rolled
yeah,
a 3 and the monster would just bat that shit away.
Yeah, it wasn't consistent in any way of what the numbers meant, other than 1 and 6. Those were the
Yeah.
only two that were clear and concise through all that.
Yeah. I'd have to say that this whole gimmick was more for the
Yeah,
toy
I
than it
mean,
was for the
Nito
show.
is like my
And
favorite character in Wizard, so like I like him a lot. Most like the mayonnaise thing like really didn't bother me because I'm like, okay, whatever, man. Like insert whatever food you like instead of mayonnaise, and it's fine. And personally, like mayonnaise is fine with me, so it doesn't matter.
I like
As for
mayonnaise.
like,
I have an
yeah, like it's
original.
interesting that like he wouldn't be in here if he didn't like because he's like an archaeology student and he just like stumbled upon this thing. But like we've had writers where that happens, where it's like it's just by chance and stuff. And like every writer basically like yeah, pretty much like their backstory is interesting enough to make them like the lead in their own show. So that's one of the good things. But one of the problems in Wizard is like I think originally Wizard was only supposed to have one writer in it. And therefore like
And it
whenever
shows.
Beast yeah, it shows. Because like most of the good stuff for Nito is done by the secondary. Which, kinda sucks, but I'm like I can kind of sympathize with like the main writer for Wizard also because like, hey, they told you to make like pretty much a show or writer formula rebooted, which means you get to have one writer and stuff, and like, and then Bando's like, no, you have to add this Beast guy who has like gimmicks over gimmicks, and then no, you have to add more writers and more shit, and like, oh, your cast members aren't showing up, and like all this other crap and like, oh yeah, because you have 5 writers, you still can't do any of the writer versus writer storyline because Gaim is next year, and that's supposed to bring back the writer versus writer formula. So like, every single thing, kind of, you could think of pretty much fucked up Wizard. Um, as for
I
Nito
was
though, he's pretty great. Like I like his base form and his gimmick is pretty great. Like his powered up form is kind of shit for Beast,
I like Hopper form.
but
Eh,
like like the sword is kind of annoying. Like I like the mantles, but the sword is dumb. Right? Like
But it's a
it does
very
more bad than good. Like he's
but it's a
clearly
very
the
very fun
Bandai
toy.
writer. Like oh, we had a gimmick before we had a plot line, therefore we must stick. It's so annoying. As for like what he does, like he brings like a good air. Like his whole thing is like a pinch is a chance, and like that's such an awesome mentality because like he's dying, but he's not like mopey at all. He's like, yes, so what? I'll figure this out,
Oh yeah,
you know. And he's pretty awesome. And like that episode with his friend and stuff. Okay, that really didn't need to be a two-parter. That storyline kind of got off way the hell off track because it became a two-parter. But the first episode for that was great because you see him like interact and they're like it's such an interesting side. And plus like his grandmother, that storyline's really fun. I love at the beginning he thinks like Rinko called him out for a date, and he like dresses up and he has a tie and it's got like fur and polka dots. Like it's so terrible, but it's hilarious. But oh my god, that storyline's great. Also, Magical Girl Beast that exists, and
That
that's great.
that was not that great.
Oh come on, it's
I
fucking
don't-
hilarious.
I don't know. I
No,
don't know.
okay,
I thought he had
it
a
would
nice
have
ass.
not been great had his grandmother not gone up to Koyomi and it's like, oh, thank you for saving us, Magical Girl Beast.
It's like, I'm not a wizard.
Or, like she doesn't say anything, she just plays along with it. I'm like, oh
No,
my god.
she
it's
starts
great.
to say anything, and then Nito like interrupts her, like, excuse me, I gotta go to the bathroom, and like pulls her
Yeah.
aside. And then Wajima comes
Yeah.
in and he starts to say something. Nito rushes out into the room again, like, "Hey, Wajima, I need to talk to you over here."
Yeah, I mean, and then like later on when he doesn't have that much plotline because like you know it's about the new wizard systems plotlines pretty much. They give him like basically a mentor role, and I'm like, oh, that's so clever. Like he doesn't get like super high points like most secondary writers, but I mean he does at the end. But like they give him like little story arcs and they use him pretty well, and he's like, I don't mind him not having like a huge amount of spotlight because like he's the secondary. He's not supposed to take away from the main writer's plot, you know. And like we sometimes we just get so used to having like the secondaries have their own thing that we forget that it's a goddamn writer show, and like you know we it's the main plot line should have precedence, you know. And so for Nito, like he shows up, he does his thing, and he goes away. I'm like, you know what? For a secondary, that's good enough, and he was great.
I wanted to mention one thing. You know the episode where he rides a bicycle.
That's his
him
best
officially-
episode.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
like why doesn't Beast have a bike?
Yeah.
At least they made up for it in Bat Rider War, where he just uses the Falco Mantle to get around.
That was
Uh,
a missed opportunity, by the way. They could have used the Chimera.
So here's the thing, like after watching a few episodes with Beast, you know, I started to realize like the show didn't need him as a character though. Like the show didn't need more than one rider. It was going fine as it was.
It sure didn't. But he's just there.
He's
Like
there.
I think of it, like basically, I think of it. It's more like just the Kamen Rider world where like you just have more writers, and he's just one of those. Like he's like for as weird as like Wizard is sometimes, like it makes perfect sense. Like you know we have like crossover movies and stuff, and it's like everything is like so hyped up, and it's like, but like when you see like Beast's plotline, that's realistically how it would be. If you like Haruto is connected to the main plotline in this area, and Beast is just another writer dude with another writer system who just happened to be in the same area. And like so, yeah, he does stuff to help out, and he's pretty awesome. But like, realistically, he doesn't have anything to do with the bad guys. Not a huge amount, so he can't really do much. So I don't mind it that much. But like, go ahead, Rai.
Well, so like all those episodes that you guys talked about, like runs into his old friend or he runs into his grandma. Those have really sweet messages behind them, and they do show some good character for him. I still don't think they were good episodes though. it had a lot to do with like execution and how certain things were written. Uh, but while they were really touching, I still don't think they were good.
Okay, like the friend one I can give you, but the one with his grandmother is great. All right, that's like the best, or pretty close to the best
Maybe I'm being
stuff
overly
they could
harsh
do.
on that one, I'll admit. But
Yeah, that
his
one's
best
great.
episode was when he teaches a little boy how to ride a bike. That was just really good.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too.
That was my favorite Beast episode. Not favorite episode in the episode.
Yeah, Drago, your mic is like broken.
Like real quick, like for Beast, I think what ended up killing it to start with for me was the fact that the whole fight with between him and Haruto over eating the phantoms went way longer than it should have.
It also went nowhere.
Yes, it served no purpose.
Like,
I mean,
it,
it's
The only purpose it served was to have the standard, hey, we have a secondary rider now, let's stick with the formula of they're gonna hate each other to start with.
I mean,
like,
to be fair, like Beast has a point. Like, dude, you don't need these guys to live. I do. So, like, let me at least finish them.
here's the thing,
So,
though.
I,
Beast does feel like he does actually, like, have something against Haruto in the beginning, but then after a while, he just stops coming off as that for no reason, and it feels like it served no purpose to have that argument.
yeah, I think it's just because they were sticking too hard to formula, and then they realized like this is dumb. So at least they dropped it. You know, unlike some other shows where like they just run with that dumbass plotline.
I mean, yeah, his character did improve once he stopped complaining about that, simply because he got to start being just a better person.
Also, best catchphrase writer.
A pinch is a chance.
No, I mean that's a pretty good line, but I meant like, you know how Wizard is like, oh, it's showtime, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
like Beast
it's
is like,
lunchtime.
it's lunchtime. I'm like, oh, it's great. Yeah, let's keep going.
Beast's upgraded form, though, Hyper Beast, I don't like it. Now, sure, he is not the first rider to have an upgraded form that has absolutely nothing to do with his base form. It is really disappointing here because his base form is really good.
I don't know. I like the tassels.
Well, you're Australian.
What does that have to do with anything, mate?
I don't know, but
Okay.
I think Rise over here having Crocodile Dundee flashbacks.
what? No.
What?
That's not an eye.
Oh wow, that's
This is
horrible.
an eye.
Yeah, like
And,
Drago
like,
Vashi, you guys
the thing,
thoughts
so
on Hyper?
So let me just make my point here. His hyper form has alright, so it still has the lion helmet, but then it has like cowboy tassels and all this other stuff that has nothing to do with his gimmick. Like, and it would have been so easy to just model him to look like Chimera. Like, alright, put the falcon and the dolphin on the shoulders, slap the buffalo on his chest and the chameleon on his back, and there you go. And it would have just been a super simple way to design the costume. But they probably cheaped out on money for it, and maybe that's why. But still, like, it just looks super weird because it has nothing to do with his base form, and it's really disappointing.
I don't know. I've never been really pedantic about stuff like that. I guess mostly because I'm used to because when I think of like because most Kamen Rider main riders
Vashi,
super
thoughts on
form-
this?
Lex was talking.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. What I was trying to say is that I'm not really pedantic about stuff like that. I think mostly because I'm used to like For example, super forms in Kamen Rider, at least when it comes to the post-decade era of stuff. The super forms, you go like your Fang Jokers, your Tajadors, your Magnet States, stuff like that. Like at least later on, they're more connected to the base form than the final form is. Like I can't really think of a final form that is connected to the base form that isn't Cyclone Joker Extreme.
A post
So
decade.
yeah, and post decade.
Um,
Because I know before decade the final forms were at least connected. I get you could argue Emperor form is connected to the base form, but I don't know. In liner form, I guess is more connected to the base
well,
form.
if we're talking post decade, because that's where it really starts to drop off. But the earlier ones were pretty good about it.
Yeah, but the base form connection is mostly limited to super forms. Like for example, like this year's right, a build, Rabbit Tank Hazard seems to have more of a connection to the base form than Genius form seems to have just from the artwork we've seen.
There's there's sorry, there's Kuga's ultimate form. That's the one I was trying to remember.
All right, yeah. Yeah, but I like Hyperform just fine. I like the blue and the gold. I like the tassels, and I'm also just a real sucker for like forms with like that focus on guns because I really like guns, and I really like gun changes in Sentai. So I just like gun toys. I really like gun toys. Bandai makes some really damn good gun toys. So
I didn't even mind the gun. Yeah. It was literally just that like the form. It's because I like his base form and gimmick so much that this upsets me. Because it feels like wasted potential.
I wasn't arguing that. I was just saying why I like it.
Yeah.
I just don't like the blue. I think the blue is not a good shade of blue that matches with the gold.
It's a very nice royal blue, but I like it. I think royal blue and gold look nice together.
Alright, Vashi. Oh, sorry, Drake. Did you have to say more?
No, I just wanted to add that in build the base form, the super, both the super forms are connected to the base form, but not the final form, which is odd.
I hate his the look of his hyper form. To me, it's like it's overly gaudy. Like.
I can see why you'd think that.
Because you look at his base form, and then you look at Wizard's forms up until his final form, which that is the most gaudy of forms I've ever seen. It's just a massive jarring change. Like, to the point of it's, well, holy crap. Like, his weapon power-ups, I love. It works, and all that, and it's just overly gaudy. It looks as if basically somebody watched some bad westerns and decided, you know what would look good? Blue. And that was like the ultimate decision on it.
Well, that's like, what they did with Nin and Gold.
Like you said, right? Yeah. Somebody watched Nin and Gold and went, "Hey, America." It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't fit with the theme that character had. So it's just overly gaudy. The only good thing about it was the blue explosion of powder. That was about it.
Hello, Riley.
Hey. What I missed?
He's my BF. Yeah. He's my BFF Facebook friend to back me up.
Well, we're discussing Beast's hyper form, good or bad.
I like it.
Basically, a couple of us don't like it because it ignores his base form and gimmick, which we really like.
All right.
So, anything else on Beast? You want to say your piece?
Me?
Yeah.
Just Nito in general. Do you like his character and stuff?
Yeah, I like Nito. He was actually my favorite character throughout the show. So
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although thinking about it, like not
Nito's-
all the characters are good, so
No, they're not the best characters, but
Yeah,
Uh,
like Riley and I, we share a lot of the same opinions. So we both agree that like there's no bad character in Wizard. So yeah.
yeah.
Yes, agreed. So I guess this is sort of we found the three guys who don't hate Wizard podcast, and then everybody else.
I don't hate Wizard either.
Okay.
I don't hate Wizard. However, Wizard is a downward spiral of a show. It starts off at its best and then gets worse.
Yeah,
That's
that's just Wizard for me as well. It's like, and I brought this up on like social media a couple of times, but like Ryder had from Double to Wizard, they've been getting like this very they got. I'm sorry, I can't speak.
Yeah. Okay. Double from Wizard had this very strange sort of like blueprint of like they all have 2 episode arcs. You know, they all have 2-parters like every so you have to wait a week to finish it off. And they just have certain character archetypes. Like each series had like a Philip, and not necessarily that they were intelligent or stuff like that, but mostly they were the characters that were going to die. So in Double, Philip was going to die, and O's Unc was going to die, and Forze Kengo was going to die, and in Wizard it was
Koyomi
Koyomi that was going to die. That was just a trope with these seasons, and there were many other things like. Wizard to me was very, very predictable. Like it was pretty damn obvious from the start to me that White Wizard was the bad guy. Like not even so that he was evil and wah ha 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 ha, but I just knew that he was the reason for this. Like they weren't very subtle with hiding the fact that White Wizard was Wise Man to me. It was very obvious. The moment they did the big reveal of it, I was like, oh my god, I'm so shocked. Who saw this coming? Oh no. What are they going to do now? Oh my god.
Wizard wanted you to figure it out. Like, every time they show the White Wizard's familiar with Wiseman, they wanted you to figure it out.
Like, but there's a difference between wanting me to figure it out and being so damn obvious from the start. And this is not necessarily a problem with. This is more of a me problem to me because I have a friend named Mrs. Noyar, and she finished Wizard. She watched Wizard before she watched Double. So she didn't see the twist of White Wizard being Wise Man. So Wizard was her first, I guess, exposure to this weird blueprint that Double, O's, Forze, and Wizard had. So she didn't see it coming. So this is mostly a me thing and just Toy being a bit tired with this formula, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
It's not really a black and white blueprint, but these 4 series have very similar like tropes and sort of like plot lines. So if you watch Double, O's, and Forza before you watch The Wizard, you can sort of see where it's going. And by that point in time, I was getting really damn sick of it, and I was really happy that Gaim just said "fuck that formula," and Gaim went back to like the earlier Heisei era mystery stuff where they kept you guessing and you constantly wanted to know what was going on. Gaim went back to the older Heisei form of storytelling, and they sort of kept that with like drive and even Ghost and X8 and even now Build, where there's a constant amount of mystery going on. Don't get me wrong, Wizard had mysteries, like the mystery with with White Wizard, but to me that was obvious. The stuff with Helheim and even the stuff with the Gamma World, I didn't know what was going on. But to be honest, I don't even think Ghost itself knew what the fuck the Gamma World was.
Yeah, because like they didn't bother explaining how the Gamma World worked until like the very. Actually, no, they explained it in the Spectre movie, but it ended up contradicting what happened in the show.
God, I hate Ghost.
Let's step away from Ghost then. We don't want to.
Yeah.
We don't want to put everyone into a bad mood.
I mean, like I could defend it, but the problem is like we have so many people in this chat. Like
we're not getting into Ghost here.
No.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, go ahead, Bashi.
Ghost will be the next Rider podcast I do. Have fun with that, guys.
Fuck.
It'll be nothing but a 4-hour hate fest.
I mean,
Now-
I'll try.
Now I have to watch
defend it.
Ghost. Thanks, Vashy.
It's not
You're
that
welcome.
bad.
It's not that bad.
It's
I have to say
just
that.
kind of padded.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. For the Wizard like episode thing, like I think one they were trying to go for like a show writer episodic monster of the week thing, and then two, it's like they had the whole problem. Like Toei always has this goddamn problem where it's like, oh shit, 1 or 2 shows were successful. We must replicate this formula till the end of time.
Yeah,
You know,
they
like-
it's the same problem they have with Sentai right now, where every single fucking Sentai after Kyoryuger has to be Kyoryuger, and it really damn shows, and it's really bad.
Well, that Lupin Ranger vs. Power Ranger is actually really good, though.
No, I'm liking Lupin versus Pato Ranger. I have nothing against that, and I don't even hate Juoja, but the Tokyuger and the Ninja, Q Ranger, I don't really like any of those shows.
Yeah.
Okay,
Especially
Tokyuger is
Ninja,
gold,
Ninja.
but
Tokyuger
don't
is
want
actually really
Samus.
good, but for the villains.
Tokyuger
No, I
has
mean,
great villains. I will
Yeah.
agree there, but Tokyuger, everything else, like I don't hate Tokyuger, but there are things about it that make me mad.
Yeah, it's
So-
like it's like from 2014 to 2017, like that was just like I don't know, like Sentai's just been a complete and utter schlock, you know. But
But
well,
that's
not-
just me, and we have Wizard, so we better get back to Wizard.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
continue on. Zero.
Yeah.
Zero.
I was thinking like the formula is mostly because like the Showa thing, but it could also be because like Double was a success. Like this is the same problem that Deno had. Like Deno was this huge hit, and therefore like Kiva had to have all this Deno shit. Like it sort of kind of managed to make it work, and then like Decade's like, nah, fuck it, we'll just do our own thing, and then they're like, oh well, Double's not ready, therefore we must go an entire half extra season, and it's just a clusterfuck. And then like Double happened and it was popular, and then like O's happened, which kind of took some Double stuff, but not really. And that was pretty popular. And then Fourth they crashed and burned, sort of.
This is the funny thing. Like if anyone saw like the toy scans for when Forza was being announced, they literally had like a graph of of how much they sold with Double and O's. So they're pretty much like, this is how much we sold with Double. This is how much we sold with O's. Now this much is how we wanted to sell with Forza, and they did. Forza sold like hotcakes. My God, Forza made a fuck ton of money. Like if you saw the reports at the end of like I think 2012, the Forza Gyro was constantly going out of stock. It was that popular.
Damn.
But like viewer wise, I think Forza was down. Wizard was definitely down. Even though they're like, I think the problem is they realized that they put like the 45 or 40 gimmicks in Forza, and they realized it was too much, so they tried to cut back in Wizard, and then Bandai's like, nope, we're gonna double down on that insanity.
Yeah,
and
but
that just messed
you
up.
also got to remember that how Toyplex and Bandai a success to them is toy sales. I don't really give it. They don't. The only people they give a damn about the views is Tiviasaki. But at the end of the day, as long as the show makes a lot of money via the toys, Tiviasaki doesn't really care about the views. It's one of the reasons why Sentai has been like sort of on suicide watch for the past few years because not only has Sentai have been having really low views, but it hasn't been making a lot of money with the toys. So Tiviasa has been really on Bandai Toys' ass when it comes to Sentai. But luckily, Q Ranger was successful enough that Tiviasa kept Sentai on. So yeah, but really, when it comes to what is successful, Bandai, Plex, and Toy care more about the toys. To them, the toys is what makes a show popular. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Like what the popular consensus on the show is. As long as the toys sell like hotcakes, to them it is a success. So you got to remember that. Like Bandai Toy and Plex only care about how well the toys sell, and like sort of the show. So the show feels like an afterthought sometimes. They don't get me wrong. The shows can still be good. I don't deny that some of their shows can be really damn good, but really to Toy for the past 15 years, it's been more about toy sales than it has been like views from TV Asahi and Blu-ray sales and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right. Let's move on with characters a bit now.
Yeah.
So Rai Guy, do you have anything real quick to say about Haruto and Shunpei?
I like Haruto, but like I think it's like I don't know. It's like he kind of just had like this like he was kind of aloof throughout most of the show. So it's like and I liked his calm personality. He's definitely like one I'd take over the goody good main writers, but
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. My only problem with him was his whole like they gave him so many backstories. Like first there was the stuff with how he got the wizard driver, then about his parents, then the soccer player, and it's like pick one. Pick one.
I mean, I think the problem was like maybe people were complaining like, oh, he seems too simple, and therefore we must add stuff. And like maybe the writer already had like the whole like no, he was kind of a douchebag.
It's like he was fine. It's like
start off a show like that, like Tendo was one experiment, right? Like Decade was another. Like we remember those guys not because they're good, but because they were assholes. Like if you're trying to make your first Kamen Rider show as head writer, do you make like a complex character who might have been a douchebag, but do you start showing that off? Like I think that's why they decided to hold off on like the backstory. But yeah, it just kind of like you have like, oh, I think I know everything about Haruto, and like 10 episodes later something else drops, right?
No, we gotta know more stuff about Haruto.
Well,
it's like did you remember he had this for breakfast as a kid?
Well, a lot of writers
I don't think it ever became that.
You learn like one or two things about them, about their past before the series. I liked Haruto because you learn more about his life, like who he actually was beforehand.
Yeah, like you can tell what he's gonna do once all this writer shit comes to an end. He'll probably go back to playing soccer, Like, what do you know what the other Heisei writers will do as soon as their shows end? Like, okay, Shinosuke will be a cop. What about the rest of them? Like, it's pretty hard to tell.
That probably wouldn't also make me like. I wouldn't also be kind of annoyed that it's like, but we never really see him like follow up. It's like every time he like comes back now, like in Kamen Rider Tyson, he after the credits he's shown eating donuts, and I think in Heisei Generations he's also shown to be eating donuts.
Yeah, okay, like, he finally gets to eat his donut.
Okay, you can't really blame the head writer of Wizard for that because like he's not writing those movies,
I
right?
know,
Yeah,
but
I know
yeah,
it's annoying. I want like the thing where like Kamen Rider X shows up and you figure out he's a doctor now. That would be cool. Like if we had that.
yeah, but anyways, with Shinpei, he kind of annoyed me, but honestly, my hate for him has kind of died down over the years. But
Thanks so much, Worst Comic Relief,
Yeah.
popping up now.
yes,
Yeah. All right. So we haven't talked about Rinko yet. A character that I thought was going to be more prevalent than she was. Like, all right, we got the. I thought she was going to be like the Ichijo of this series, and it teased you with that, but she never amounted to it. Ultimately, I feel like she could have been given like all of Shunpei's parts and just been one character for that. But other than that, she didn't need to be there every day. She didn't need to be there in every episode. She just needed to be someone they called up when they needed the police.
Yeah, that is one thing I did like about Wizard is that like it really did harken back to earlier Heisei stuff when because like when Cougar and Akito had connections to the police, and I really liked those aspects of those shows, and they brought it back for Wizard, and I thought it was really nice.
yeah,
But again, she didn't really she. Like, I don't hate this character, but I can't really remember anything significant that she did besides some police work for some of the Phantom cases. Like, I don't hate her, and I'm just happy that her actress went on to more prevalent stuff in Tokyo.
yeah.
She
So,
convinced
yeah.
Phoenix to go on a psychotic rampage.
Which, like,
Think
I guess
about
that's
that.
Oh God.
something. Yeah. I like her. I mean, but
I don't hate her. It's just
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, there's,
Like she's really inoffensive, so you can't really complain about her. But you also got to admit, like, what does she do besides some
like,
police stuff?
I think
Like,
I think the more I look back on this, it's like, she really didn't contribute much, did she?
but what did they exactly do for the plot?
Yeah.
Like, they don't really serve the narrative in any real functional, meaningful way.
Yeah, they're like that's
Yeah.
that's one of its biggest issues. So yeah,
Yeah, I think like Rinko Drago, your mic.
I was gonna speak, but okay.
okay, Drago, try talking.
Yeah, you can try talking if you want.
Okay. Is my mic working?
Yes, you're
properly?
good right now. Go ahead. Say what you need to.
Okay. Yeah. See, I also remembered that I did Rinko, but I couldn't remember what she did. Then I remembered that she got married to novel.
oh dear.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're. Oh,
I'm back.
Wait, what?
Well,
Yeah. I heard from one of the friends who read the novel that it seems that Rinko and Haruto got married.
wait,
We're
novel?
not
Those aren't
counting
canon.
novels.
Those
Okay, we're not counting the novel.
those aren't main continuity.
yeah, those are just
Look,
something for the novels.
We can't count the novels because we're gonna have to start counting the Fies novels, and no. Alright? No. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
Lord.
Yeah, and then about Haruto eating donuts and riding on his bike and all the Tyson movies or whatever. Uh, well, right?
Yeah.
Not right. Yeah, there's some background noise coming from there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think that was to show like how the Showa riders became some wandering heroes at the end of their series, riding on the bike and going around, helping people. I think that's what they want. They made Haruto do after his show ended. They assumed, I mean, don't know whether whether the head writer intended that or not. Yeah, that's what I was actually going for. Haruto just rides on his bikes, helps people, and eat donuts. That's about it. After his show ended, he didn't go back to whatever they had set up in his backstory because he became basically a show rider.
I mean, after his girlfriend died, he pretty much had nothing left.
Mm, I mean, true, but it's if why give him the story about why give him a backstory about the freaking soccer thing if he's just it didn't really factor into anything though.
Oh,
Well, I
whatever.
mean,
It just sort of felt like to give him more baggage. Like it's like because they kept layering on the despair in his life. I'm just like, how is this guy still alive? How can he walk around happy in the sunlight? You think he'd rather be locked in his room blasting new metal soundtracks all day?
Like
oh,
for the soccer thing, I think that entire arc was more to show that Haruto was okay with the fact that he had to give all this stuff up.
Fair
That,
enough.
and
but-
that everything he gave up is outweighed by everything he's gained and what he does and the people he protects. So I think that was what that was more or less to be, because at the end of the episode he basically points out that he's okay not having to do this again, and that he put his dreams of his future in soccer on his friend.
I guess that's fair, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I mean-
again, I haven't seen Wizard since it aired, and when Riley and I do our own on Wizard, we would have rewatched it, and we'll have a lot more damn detail by that time. But we have no idea when we're getting to Wizard, and honestly, I don't really have any desire to watch Wizard right now, not because Wizard is bad, but like you'll see when I state my full opinion on Wizard. So
Yeah. I mean, my thing with that soccer backstory is like I think it was mostly just to show like Haruto wasn't a good guy because like he didn't despair and stuff, and like he is supposed to be like the final hope of his parents, but he wasn't like he's not Kuga, like oh shit, like my parents are, I guess like my dad is dead, but I'll still like protect everyone's smile. Sort of thing, like he wasn't a good guy, he was just a dude. And so like they showed like yeah, he can fuck up, right? Like he fucked up pretty hard. And like you can still come back from that. And like the whole thing with Wizard is like it has like a lot of like complex like character arcs and well not character arcs, like points about like human beings and stuff, but like they don't have full arcs devoted to them. Like the whole thing with like Gremlin is like he's supposed to be like Wizard or like Haruto's foil, but like yeah, every once in a while you see that, and at the end they push on they shove that in your face like super hard.
We'll get to
But, like,
Gremlin.
Yeah, unless you're rewatching the show, like you don't really see that the first time. And I think that's sort of like a lot of things with Wizard. It's like it might be a Fives thing where it's like you have to watch the show twice to see, okay, now this is actually what's going on, or like no, this is what the actual character is, and like it's more just for their reactions because like the show isn't fully fleshed out unless you know the backstory. Like it's kind of maybe like a Tachibana thing. Well, not as bad as a Tachibana from Blade thing, where it's like, oh yeah, you have to go.
Right,
Nah, it's just an onion. We're allowed to have our own onions.
yeah,
Vashi, did you have anything to say on Rinko?
yeah,
Well, not that really hasn't been said already.
and just kind of going back on like the topic of rewatching Wizard, it's like well, like
Okay.
But yeah, like aside from all the shit that she did with Division Zero towards the beginning of it, that she really was of no use.
yeah, but
I think
Just-
the problem is like
Mm.
Rinko got hit with like two of Wizard's problem is like one, like Wizard's worst aspect is its comedy. It's terrible, like it's really bad. And how like all the characters act when they're trying to be funny is fucking kind of really shit. And like Rinko got hit with that because like she's a secondary character. And the other thing is like everybody's better in the goddamn movie. So like if you see like Wizard in Magic Land, I'm pretty sure like that's what all the characters should have been like. And like Rinko makes perfect sense in that movie because she's doing all the police stuff, and like Shumpei makes perfect sense in the movie, and like so does Beast. So like if Wizard was like a shorter run show, or if like it was given full time to do like had like okay, we had all these characters and we had to write a show around all of them, and not like been like, oh, I'm doing my own thing. Oh no, now we add this character. Oh no, you have to add this character. It might have worked better.
Yeah.
Alright. So, we'll talk about Koyomi later, but for now let's talk about some of the Phantoms. Medusa. I honestly was surprised that her character pretty much start to finish stayed the same. Like, I expected her to develop into more of a female general role and then possibly get killed off early, and it never happened. Vashi, please, describe it to everyone the way you described it to me before.
Please pay attention to me, Daddy.
You're such an asshole. Um, I think like Medusa stays like one. The whole thing with the Phantoms is they don't change because they're just on like messed up image of the person they come from, and
Like,
two
honestly,
is
do I-
like
Sorry, you go.
yeah, and two is Medusa's whole thing is she's the most loyal Phantom because like you kind of retain like a twisted version of who you were, right? Like, and the whole thing with her was like she had this great family, and then like Phantom happened, and so she still has loyalty, but like not to humanity.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like the way the
Yeah.
Phantoms are, the way the Phantoms act on vampires and Buffy work. Because if you didn't know anything, when it comes to vampires and Buffy, because when you are a vampire in Buffy, you aren't a vampire. You die. Your soul goes to heaven or hell, and like a demon jumps into your body and takes over it, and that vampire takes on the darkest aspects of who you were when you were alive. So basically, someone is just walking around in your body. A demon's walking around in your body, and they basically have your darkest aspects. And you can definitely see that with like Angel. If you watch Buffy, if you see Angela's the version with him as a soul. He's takes on the darkest aspect of who Liam was. So it's very similar here. But back to Medusa, the most interesting thing that happened to her was her whole dynamic with her sister. But that didn't really do anything with it. Like her twin sister entered despair, and she managed to fight through to despair. And then White Wizard just comes. I'll take you with me to teach you about magic at Hogwarts and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the most interesting thing that happened. And like the sister comes back later, and she does end up killing Medusa. But
No, she
what
doesn't.
was it the numbers?
Doesn't.
Wiseman
No, she
does.
doesn't. Wiseman.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
yeah. I forgot.
Well, either way, I do remember the sister damaging Medusa to the point where she was going to die, and then Wiseman killed her off. Like it was one of those like dramatic. Oh, I survived the attack, Daddy. Please help me. Psh, oh no, Daddy killed me.
Yeah, pretty much.
I remember it being.
Yeah, something like that.
That's how I remember it.
I'm gonna steal that Daddy joke. I really like that. Thank you for putting that in my head.
You're very
Whoever
welcome.
made that.
Yeah,
I didn't even occur to me to think of it like that until you said it to me.
And it's like the entire death scene for her is quite literally her turning around, looking at him, and basically going, "But why, Daddy? I love you." I mean, that's basically her fucking epitaph.
Yeah, I mean that's that is the most loyal one, and Wiseman does not give one fuck about the wizards or the Phantoms.
It's just, I always like Medusa's design. Like in general, I love the aesthetic and the design of the Phantoms. They all are great looking monsters. And she is one of the best, and I'm really glad she got a figure art. But like as a character, she was just the loyal one. That's what you'd call her. She's the loyal one. She's the one that sticks around. Like she's the one that was going spreading despair and stuff like that, like Monokuma. And yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty much her character.
Yeah.
just speaking of the hope and despair thing, like when it comes to the thematic of that, I feel like Danganronpa did that a lot better than Wizard.
Ultimately,
It also came out after Wizard. So.
I haven't
yeah.
played Danganronpa yet. Okay.
All right, I won't spoil anything from you.
Please
Just-
don't.
just like-
I
but
actually
there's-
really want to play
yeah,
it.
Yeah, just the thematic is hope and despair, but that's not really spoiling anything. So
I know the premise, but anyways, I found Phoenix to be a more interesting character than Medusa.
oh, definitely, like
Yeah.
he had
Dude,
a lot more
everybody
than
loves
character.
Phoenix.
Yeah, but of course the most interesting character is the one that gets killed off the earliest.
Yeah,
because
it's like
why not?
I think this is the point where you actually see they're trying to replicate. We're also trying to replicate Double with like because they did the same thing with like well
With Nazca.
yeah, with Nazca.
Yeah. This is what I mean by they're sharing the same blueprint. Like they have like similar archetypes and similar plot points and similar, like plot drop-offs and stuff like that. Like that made Wizard like if you watch Double O's and Forza before you watch Wizard, everything is very damn obvious.
Yeah.
So and that made Wizard very annoying for me because nothing was surprising about Wizard.
Yeah.
I'd watch the show weekly and I'm like, oh, I see where it's going. Oh, I see where it's going. And it got really annoying.
So yeah,
I could see Wizard, but like most of Wizard's plot point coming. But at that time I don't think I'd seen like Double and O's and like definitely not Forza.
That's what I mean. It's not a problem if you haven't seen the 3 previous shows. I proposed this theory before. Like, what would happen if someone watched Wizard first and then watched Forza? If they watched it backwards, instead of going Double.
I did that, and like
O's and Double. Like, but
Yeah.
so would they see Double as formulaic as I saw Wizard?
Yeah.
Kinda, but like the thing is like it's different enough. Like, I haven't seen Forza, but like I saw Wizard I think first. No, I think I saw O's first, like halfway through maybe, and then Wizard I definitely finished, and then I think I went back, finished O's, and then Double after that, and so like they're not formulaic, but yeah, Double is a little. Double's biggest problem is people overhype it too much. Same like Black. Like Black is much worse because like people overhype the shit out of that show, and it's like it's okay.
No, I
Whereas,
felt
like,
the
Double-
exact same way towards. I felt the exact same way towards Jetman. Like I watched Jetman because it was overhyped. I watched like 2 episodes of it. I'm just like, this show is aggressively mediocre.
Yeah, I think like Double didn't have that problem. The problem with Double was like I wanted to like slap the writer like every once in a while, or mostly like every 2 episodes, because I'm like, come on, man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is so much more interesting. Why are you focusing on this useless crap?
Yeah,
And it's like Double's problem is like it's got great themes. The writer refuses to focus on the good ones.
If you like, I don't know if you heard of him, Zero, but do you know a reviewer named Des Shinta?
Yeah, I know him. We did a couple podcasts with that guy.
Oh, really? Cool. So, well, he recently released redos of his Black reviews, and like I really like him because like he's like my only source of like a behind the scenes stuff on Kamen Rider shows, and I find it really fascinating because like I don't know where he finds this crap. So I always like it when I watch these reviews because like while I won't always agree with him, I love to hear the stuff behind the scenes. It's always really damn fascinating to me because you never hear about this stuff. So
Yeah, it's pretty
like
interesting.
because the most I know about a show going into it is, well, we know the stuff at least, but you never really know what happens behind the scenes to make stuff happen. I've been hearing the entire time that Wizard wanted to be more like a Showa era show, which is fine. But Bandai kept asking for like the normal crap, like a secondary writer and stuff like that. Like I never heard of that till now, that the head writer or wizard wanted Wizard to be more like a Showa era series. That's new to me.
Yeah, I mean, like basically Wizard was like, all right, by Forze we've run the Heisei formula into the ground. Therefore, we must try. Let's see if we can go and make a throwback show like the Showa eras and try to make that formula come back. And like in the beginning, it was working, but like I guess not as well as Bandai wanted. Therefore, we just shoved all this stuff in. And then we got like so many characters, but we couldn't use them because like either people weren't there or like we couldn't do the writer stuff because like Gaim was next year and Gaim was gonna do the writer, like multiple writers things. It's so stupid.
It was going to be written by a much better guy because I love Gen Urobuchi.
Oh, fuck that. Urobuchi, Mr. I want to remake Ryuki over and over again. Screw that asshole. Sorry, like I really dislike Gaim. I mean, like, not actually, to be fair, it's not even the show as much, it's just I don't give a shit about Urobuchi's crap. Because, like, I really like Ryuki, and, like, all of his attempts at remaking Ryuki are crap.
A friend of mine was telling me about Madoka Magica, and all I could think was, this is literally Ryuki.
Well, to be shocked, I didn't like Ryuki. I watched 5 episodes and I was really fucking bored, which is really sad because I usually
wow.
What?
Yeah.
I think the difference between Gaim and Ryuki is like Ryuki is character focused, where Gaim is mystery focused. So depending on which way you lean more towards, you like the show. Like, whereas like I was watching Gaim, like I don't give a fuck about your bullshit mystery box. Like it's not going to mean anything because it's like a 40 episode show, and by the time we get I'm like no. Sorry. My point was I'm like 30% through the show and like nothing means anything in Gaim, and so I'm like, you know what? No, I'm just dropping this.
Fair enough, but I thought Gaim had really strong characters. Koda's one of my favorite Kamen Riders. Like, and I really liked.
I mean, compared to Ryuki, they're pretty weak.
Ryuki had like my main problem like with Ryuki is that compared to like Kota, Kota had more personality than Shinji did. Shinji was just a blank piece of wood to me. He had no personality.
That's actually super not true.
Shinji, like, yeah, go ahead.
Like that's just that. Yeah, but that more so comes from the problem of Yasako Kobayashi because
that's Kobayashi's main fucking trope.
We're going to have a Kobayashi versus Urobuchi showdown. You will go down in flames.
I like Kobayashi's writing. I love Denno. Yeah. I love O's. I love those two shows to death. But her problem with characters is that she writes, at least when it comes to Kamen Rider, all of her main writers, Shinji, Ryotaro, and Eiji, they're all really bland compared to the rest of it, compared to everyone around them.
I don't know. I mean, I think I like her because, like, the way she writes it is like, alright, here's the rest of the show, and then her main writer is the thesis statement of the show. So, like, Shinji's thing is, like, he's kind of boring because that's what he's supposed to be. He's not supposed to be Ryuki. It's the guy who fucking, didn't want a henshin was going to be Ryuki. Like, Tezuka's friend, basically.
No, Tezuka's friend was going to become... The guy that was going to become Ryuki dies off camera.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. Tezuka's friend
was going to become Raya.
Yeah, my bad. Basically, like, Shinji's thing is, like, he's not the perfect guy, he's just the guy who's gonna try. And, like, throughout the episode, like, he's kind of boring, but, like, his whole point is he's just a dude with a good heart, and he's gonna try, and, like, that changes everyone around him. And so that's why I like Ryuki. But, like, yeah, I guess, like, individually, if you like, okay, here's a lineup of characters. Pull out interesting people like Shinji. Yeah, wouldn't really be that interesting.
Mm.
But like for his show, he's pretty good.
Yeah, it's just when it comes to my philosophy, when it comes to TV shows, I care more about character than I do plot. Like, it's one of the reasons why I can like Kabuto, despite Kabuto's plot being a hot fucking travesty of a mess with the whole time travel crap. But Kabuto had really good characters, ignoring Kendo himself. That's why I like Kabuto, because despite Kabuto having a bloody boiling mess of a plot, the characters are really good. So I can enjoy Kabuto that way. But if a show has a good plot but boring characters, I'm not going to give a damn. Like, it's one of my problems with X8. Like X8's plot was more interesting than the characters. Like, don't get me wrong, X8 has some great characters like Dan Kuroto and stuff like that. But when it came to the rest of and Tiger, but the plot was more interesting than
Okay, this is great.
Like Emu and stuff. Yeah, this is getting crazy.
No.
Yeah.
This is great because it's like you're like, oh, I like Kabuto because the characters are great. And then you go, oh, I like X more for the plot. And I'm like, oh my god, like it's not bad, but it's like, oh, we're literally like the podcast.
I think we're kind of derailing here.
Yeah.
We very much
But, like,
derailed, but hey, it's good to get some kind of discussion out.
No, I know it's interesting because we're like, I'm like Kabuto is a hard mess, and I'm like, it's okay. The characters are okay, but like X8, like our podcast, really like that. That show and the characters were good, but for where you're like, oh, I'm more of a character guy, and I don't like plot that much. I'm like, yes, that's why I don't like Guy, but then it's your favorite, so it's like,
Okay.
oh, it's so interesting being Toku fans and like having different takes on the
like
same show.
I love discussion. I really do. It's very fascinating. Like because it just you know, it's all opinions, and it's okay to have a different opinion. Like yeah.
I'm actually still kind of interested in seeing, like, you know, what counterpoints you have for our build podcast.
Yeah,
So-
I'm still very interested.
Like it wasn't bad. It's mostly like you're like, oh, I like this. I'm like, oh, I dislike this for this reason. It's not bad. It's like you guys go one way, I go the other way. It's interesting.
No. Again, like we know you have no logic problems with our podcast. It's just you have very different opinions, and that's great. I really want to hear them.
Yeah.
So,
But I think we should get back to
Yeah, okay.
God
Yeah.
damn it! Like, sorry, audience. Back to
I would love to
the
debate
man.
Ryuki with you, really, but this isn't the time for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I need to watch Ryuki, so I'll get back to you when I actually finish Ryuki. Okay.
Here's
so.
my advice.
Yeah, like
Give it like
The
10
first-
episodes.
yeah, the early episodes are kind of shit.
Right, okay. Well, that's good to know, because my friend Mistress Noya, she adores Ryuki.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When it introduces the fourth rider, the third like actual main rider, it picks up.
Okay.
But yeah, back on Phoenix. Despite this obviously being a, you know, sort of, what was the? Forget the guy from Double's name now.
Philip or no, not Philip.
Nazca?
Nazca. Despite this being like, you know, sort of, you know, being kind of Nazca-ish, I do like Phoenix. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, Phoenix is a really interesting character. Like, again, it's been years since I watched Wizard, but I remember him being one of the most interesting things about it. And I remember really liking his character. And when we learned, like, his backstory of who he used to be as a human, that was really interesting. Like, he's a very interesting and very entertaining character, in that he's very much like the brute enforcer of the Phantoms right now. And like Medusa is, like, I guess the smarter one, if you can call her that. And but he's just way more entertaining and more interesting. Like, again, I go into more detail, but it's been years since I watched Wizard.
Okay, so I can help
Should've
you out
watched them.
here. Phoenix,
Okay.
because he's just like the rampaging, angry type. But when Rinko starts looking into his past and realizing, like, oh, he used to be a guy that loved flowers. He used to be very sensitive. And then when she starts talking to him, it builds up your expectations of, like, she's connecting with him. Like, she starts sharing donuts with him. And then it turns into her saying, like, you know, my boss told me not to get involved with the fandom stuff, but I did anyways, and that worked out for me. If you don't think what you're doing is right, then maybe you should try doing your own thing. That ended up turning into Phoenix trying to level the city, but the build up to it was really good, and it makes you feel like Phoenix might actually be very sympathetic.
Yeah.
And,
The only thing I have to complain about is the only thing I have to complain about him is just his death.
Yeah, and I'll get to that right now. The final battle scene with Phoenix was really, really good. The choreography, the atmosphere, and Haruto's last line to him was really awesome. But when you step back and think about it, it's really damn stupid, because Phoenix's whole thing is that you kill him and he gets stronger because he revives. And he's constantly dying and reviving in the sun. Like the fucking sun should have been hurled at the earth by now. Really?
It's fine. They're just gonna do a Beast Returns movie, and Phoenix will be the villain. It'll be fine.
And then Beast will eat Phoenix, and because he can regenerate, he will keep Kimahri completely full all the time.
That's actually a really good idea.
I honestly thought that's how they were going to solve Beast, and I'm super glad they didn't. I actually would have been kind of upset with that.
Yeah, but again, that's my only problem. I like Phoenix as a character, but his death scene just makes absolutely no sense, because at this point, the sun should have been hurled at the earth, because he would have been that damn strong where he would have been able to throw a bloody star.
Yeah, but
that's my only real problem with it. I just thought
maybe it's diminishing returns.
Yeah, like if they ever decide to bring him back, I'd like to see Phoenix again, because if they do bring him back, he should be a fucking god.
He did come back in the Wizard movie, but in
that was an alternate universe, and he sucked.
But in that universe, I was gonna say, like in that universe, well, him, Medusa, and Gremlin, they're basically that world's equivalent of a street gang.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
They get one scene and get killed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty much. They're nothing. Okay, my other thing is, like, he does come back in the far future, and that's the future that, like, alternate O's, what the hell is his name? Aqua's from? Where it's, like, the Godspeed Love future of, like, the Earth is a fucking desert. It's because Phoenix came back and torched it all. But then I guess the rider survived, so whatever. I don't know. Maybe fucking Blade kicked him back into the sun or something.
Blade did, okay.
Well, I mean, he'll still be around.
Yeah.
Or future Kiva, or future Drive, or future all the other kids.
Yeah. Future Riders.
There's still Chalice.
But yeah, Phoenix. He's great.
Yeah, I like him. He's good. We should stick around more though.
Okay.
Yeah.
My highlight of Phoenix was like him getting kicked into the.
Yep.
Yeah, that is about it. I liked Phoenix back then, but I don't remember as much anymore because it's been years since I watched Wizard.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with Phoenix, is like he was okay villain. It's just like, oh shit, he died too early, and therefore he's the best.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I thought they were actually going to do the same thing with Chase, like in Drive, but they didn't.
Well, that's good, because I love Chase as a character, but again, the main problem with Chase is that he really should have become a writer earlier, but again, Bandai had a toy schedule, and Sanjo had to follow the toy schedule, so he had to keep constantly having like Chase be a recurring villain, just randomly just popping on top of Shinosuke's car out of nowhere, or just finding him in a library and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, at first when I was watching it, I was like, okay, this Phoenix guy is okay, but then that fight happened. That was great, like his ending fight. Oh, also that stuff with Rinko was pretty good. And then Gremlin showed up, and I'm like, no, fuck this guy. Phoenix was so much better.
Hey, we're
Um,
talking about Gremlin next, so go ahead and segue that.
no. Vashi still has to say his thoughts on Phoenix.
Like, I liked Phoenix. It at the start it was a kind of a slow build, which fit with his character's motif of becoming more powerful every time he died. But yeah, they killed him off too early, in my opinion. They could have drug it out for, another 10 or 12 episodes, just as a like reoccurring background kind of fight until the big final confrontation. And I think it would have served the story better if they had done that. But just like with almost every other character in the series, it got pushed to the side for other shit.
Look, his problem was clearly he was the wrong color. If he was blue, it might have worked. Definitely if he was green.
Alright, so Gremlin though. Gremlin,
Oh, Lordy Lou.
I like Gremlin's character. I like his little quirkiness, and I love the reveal of him having been a serial killer. That is probably like one of my favorite moments in all of Wizard. He overstays his welcome after that, but ultimately he was worth it. And then I've heard people complain about him being like the final villain that Wizard has to fight. I'm fine with it for one reason. After Wiseman is defeated, and Haruto makes his promise to Koyomi, she says, just don't let the Philosopher's Stone fall into evil hands anymore. And then Gremlin comes in and takes it. Gremlin is just Haruto keeping his final promise to Koyomi, keep granting her final wish. He is nothing more than cleanup of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you want to go next? Can I go next or?
Okay, sure. Go next.
Okay. Yeah, I thought Gremlin was a really good villain too. He was definitely one of the creepiest Kamen Rider villains, in my personal opinion. He was up there with Dr. Maki as one of the creepiest and having a really fucked up backstory. Like, oh my god. like it really is this is one of the few things Wizard did really good, was just the misdirection. Like, this is like Gremlin was one of the few things I couldn't really tell what they were going with, and thank God.
Yeah.
But you thought Gremlin was going to be he's like the more human villain. Like, he might end up going to the good guy side because he says he still has a soul and he prefers to be called by his name when he was a human and stuff like that. No.
Boom! Serial killer!
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
just,
like-
no, boom,
It's like-
boom, John Wayne Gacy. I'm like, oh,
It's like-
okay.
It's like
Yeah, you
I
thought he
kinda
was
like,
Hart from Drive, but he ended up being a serial killer.
It's like I kind of like fucked up villains like that. It's kind of like with like a Gien from Time Ranger. So yeah.
Oh, I was thinking more of oh god, I don't think his name is Tiger. In Ryuki, he has like the tiger.
Yeah, Kamen Rider
form.
Tiger. Just call him Tiger.
Yeah, like that's not his name, but that character. Whereas like, oh, you guys haven't seen it. Okay, so I'm not gonna spoil it. But
No,
yeah,
I already know his whole thing. He's a hero, but he's a hero that does fucked up things for the good.
He's not a hero.
things.
He wants to be one.
He
Yeah,
wants
but
to be
he-
one, but and he does fucked up things to do that. I'm aware.
Yeah.
pretty
Sorry.
much. As for, I guess I'm going now. Gremlin, like Gremlin's problem is like he really overstayed his welcome, but thematically, like he has a reason because he's supposed to be like he's exactly like Haruto. Like he's the
yeah.
guy who didn't turn because there's something inside him that made him not turn. Except the thing is, like, he was already way too far gone when he was a human, whereas like Haruto was just kind of a douchebag. But then he became a good guy. Whereas like Gremlin became so much, well, potentially so much worse. I don't know. Um, yeah. Also, like that's the one thing Wizard does well is like, oh, you think the story is gonna go one way, and it takes like an entirely different turn, where it's like, oh, Phoenix, you think he might become a good guy? It's like, nope, time to burn the city down. Oh, Gremlin, he might be human. Nope, serial killer. Oh, shit, Medusa's some weird human high school girl. Nope, twin sister. Awesome story arc. It's like, if like Wizard was like a third to like half its length, it would be such a better show because it's got like such good moments. They're just too spaced out.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gremlin.
I wanted to
Go
go
ahead.
next actually.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
What Gremlin felt like was since the final win for the series, to the second rider, they wanted someone for Haruto to fight at the end. That's what it felt to me. Like Beast basically solved all the problems in the for the final act of Wizard, except the Gremlin part was just solved by Haruto because they wanted Haruto to, since he's the main rider, to get the final win.
Um, Vashi, anything?
Like when Gremlin started out, he had that feel of you didn't know who he was or what he was about. Just some random creepy dude that seemed to be helping them. And then you find out, oh, he's a phantom, and it's, well, does he want to be a phantom because he doesn't want to be called his entire character at the start of it was just fascinating
Mm.
because, like you said, you don't know anything about the guy other than the fact that to start with is he has some weird power and he has stones, and then it's, oh, he's a phantom, and then you get that he's not on the same page as Wise Men, so you get the entire build up that, hey, following a formula, here's the bad guy that can turn Rider. We had the potential for a third Rider with this, like kind of the way they did Chaser, and then nope, he's just an evil shit dick. Like, it was fantastic, and it was a great twist for it because I don't think anybody saw that coming until like maybe the episode before that there was something wrong with him beyond just, hey, he's creepy. And it turns out we get the reason why he's creepy.
Yeah, I know, right? Like the episode previews are like, oh, you see Gremlin save someone. It's like, oh, maybe he's not that bad after all. That's basically what everybody thought.
Right.
Until you
And-
see the episode, and it's like, holy shit, that.
I was thinking like, oh, maybe she reminds him of like his sister or someone. No.
No, it's just some random girl he killed. I was like, oh, damn.
Oh wow.
He just wanted her for
Like-
himself.
Like it's one of the moments in the series where it gets rather grim and dark with it, beyond the whole, technical suicide by depression shit in the magic circle. It's like this was one of those moments where it's like, I didn't know how I feel about you, but now I despise you. I want you to die in the worst way possible. Which
Yeah.
which we don't get a lot with Ryder. I mean, we've had it here more often with the last couple of seasons, but it was I liked him as a character. I wasn't too keen on him as the final villain, for lack of a better term, until Rai explained to me that whole basically he's just cleanup. It's one of those, oh, by the way, we forgot one.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember. Is the reason why he wanted the Philosopher's Stone was because he thought it would make him human again? And
Yes.
the only thing he did is basically just turbocharged his.
Well,
his
he
human
would.
form. Yeah.
He was going to charge it up by finding gates and use the power to turn himself human. He had a plan, but we don't know how far it would have taken him.
Yeah, I don't think he really thought that through very well.
I mean, he did, but the thing is, like, his thing was like, I don't want to be this weird fucking monster shit because that's messed up and that's not me. I just want to be me because pretty much I'm perfect or whatever. So he was kind of off his rocker anyway, but he's like, yeah, I don't want this because I don't want to be Gremlin. I want to be Sora. So he doesn't care about the power.
Wait,
He just
Sora from
wants.
Kingdom Hearts?
No, like
No,
that's
his
what
human name
Gremlin.
is Sora.
No, I know. I just feel like making a joke.
Wouldn't it be Roxas then?
Probably good.
You
That's
know what?
probably
Yeah,
good.
it probably would be Roxas.
I know
Probably-
nothing about Kingdom Hearts.
Probably could have also. I probably also could have made like a Digimon joke because like there was a character in Adventure named Sora, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, X8's clearly the show to make all the Digimon jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I really liked Gremlin as a character. He's really creepy. I still think Dr. Markey was a much creepier villain just because his backstory, I think, was like really like, don't get me wrong, the serial killer aspect was still very messed up, but just the whole having a sister that hates you and taught you like these horrible fucking morals that that impressioned him into his childhood, and he fucking killed his sister by burning her alive while she slept, and it's so fucked, but I love it.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons like I like O. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
O's is great.
I mean,
so
O's is great, man. Like, if you have to introduce anybody to Rider, just show them O's. But like one of these days, we should just make a list of like, oh yeah, that one time that Rider didn't give a fuck about the age rating and went for actual serial killer style story. Then we would have like an interesting list because it'd be like Dr. Maki and like Sora
Dr.
and
Maki!
like
Don't say
yeah,
it like
man, that would be such a good list.
I'm
Like
sorry.
if you actually had villains like that.
I'm sorry. Every time I hear someone say Maki now, I'm just thinking of Maki Nishikino from Love Life.
yeah, same here.
But yeah.
So,
Keep your idle trash off. Sorry.
so
It's okay. Like I'm not that deep in idle hell, but my girlfriend is.
I don't actually. So when we got to the episode about Maki's story, like I don't even really remember that much. What exactly did his sister do?
His sister was pretty much a cold, heartless bitch who was going to abandon him because she hated his guts and was going to go marry someone. And basically, the whole thing is that she gave him like really bad morals, like like ending and death is beautiful, and you should only give a damn about when you die, and stuff like that. And basically left him that doll, and basically. And that morale stuck with him so much that he thought that he killed his sister to give her a beautiful ending.
Oh,
Yeah, so he killed his sister because his sister taught him that morale, and it was really fucked. And that left it, and that grew up with him into like his adulthood, and that's the whole like reason why he wanted to. He's the whole reason why he wanted the Greed to go berserk, so the Greed could end the world. So
Yeah.
he wanted to destroy the planet because he thought like that the world was spoiled and horrible, and like the only way to fix it and clean it is to destroy it.
okay.
That's what
So
he tried to do.
yeah, all right. That was a plan.
I love those.
It's cool though. He got a panda form out of it.
Yeah. Anyways, back on Gremlin, but yeah. Gremlin.
Gremlin, he's fucked.
Who hasn't spoken about Gremlin yet? Deck. For those of you listening, Drago had to leave, unfortunately. Vashti, did you talk about Gremlin yet?
Yes, I did.
Oh, are we ready to move on then?
I believe so.
Okay. So the three mages that the White Wizard collects. Do you have guys anything to say about them? Because I don't really.
Uh,
Mayu was
I'm
pretty
sure.
good with her like story with Medusa.
Well,
yeah, I think she was like the only one I remembered out of them. The rest I
yeah,
just
none of them were bad. Like
Well, I
I
think-
didn't hate any of them. I mean, I guess the father. The father, like the green mage got a bit on my nerves at the start, but like the kid is one of the few Toku kids that I don't want to strangle, and
yeah.
stuff like that. So
Other than that, I didn't really remember much about them. So,
same. They're not very remarkable. So
Yeah, I mean, my biggest problem with them is like they were introduced rather late. I mean, mostly the dad, whereas like Mayu definitely had like her full story arc. That was great. A lot of people are like, "Oh, this should be the main plot line of Wizard." I'm like, "Really? You want to stretch this to 40 episodes?"
No, that got all the
Like,
time
yeah,
they
because-
needed.
no, it's like
Yeah, it worked perfectly.
yeah, but she was probably like the only one I really liked. The rest I don't hate. It's just I don't care.
I liked
Yeah, I mean-
I liked
Yeah.
Mito connecting with the little boy and like teaching him how to ride
Oh,
a
yeah,
bike
that
and
was-
stuff.
Yeah,
But then after that, when it got into like, oh well, he was kidnapped. That's all it was, and it was mostly about Nito. And then the boy had nothing else.
I mean, they kind of did because they were kind of getting into that like he thing of like mentor writer, like young writer thing. I was like, oh, that's cool, but like it came in way too late for that.
I
Which
think
is-
the most interesting. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think the most interesting thing about the kid was like, because like the whole like thing with when a fan was being born, like you start you literally start to crack open with despair, and like you have like those purple cracks in you. He had one of the more like unique ones because like literally because I think his phantom was some sort of spider creature, and only the legs were coming out of his back.
Yeah, that was actually kind of cool and creepy.
Yeah, and kind of really creepy. So
But then it's like I forget what happens, and he's like not in despair.
yeah, but that creepiness was sort of ruined with him. Like, and I know he's a kid, and he's scared, and he's gonna whine, but really, him whining during him dying got kind of got on my nerves.
Yeah.
So, I get why it's human. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to whine while in state, but it wasn't pleasant for me. So,
I don't know. I mean, it's been a
I'm
while.
turning into a phantom.
I mean,
a
it's-
fandom, it sucks.
like I think
You
the
start to
hype.
feel weird things.
I
think the
was supposed
hype-
to go to a party tonight.
I don't think. it's
I'm
that
trying to
bad.
make this chick wet by riding my bike.
All right, that's not what happened, right?
That's exactly what
Heart-
happened.
No, it didn't. Because Haruto and Wizard were Haruto and Nito were joking. It's like, oh, you're just trying to impress this girl, because you have a crush on her. And the entire plot line is like, no, I'm not doing this for that reason. It's like, when like he was a lot younger, like they used to play together. But one time he like took her bike, and then he went into traffic and he almost fucking died. And then so after that, like, they kind of drifted apart and stuff, and like I guess she's graduating or moving away or whatever. And then he just wanted to show us like, hey, it's cool, I'm not afraid of this shit anymore. Like, you did nothing wrong that time, right? Like, life goes on and stuff. So he was just trying to cheer her up, and like he couldn't think of a way. Like, yeah, that entire plot line is great. But it's not what you guys are saying, because that's the joke that like Nito and Haruto thought it was, but it wasn't. As for like the father, okay, so the interesting thing with the father is like, okay, that guy, former Kamen Rider, he's in Hibiki. He's the second guitar guy.
I knew he looked familiar.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. And the mom is live action Sailor Moon.
Oh.
Yeah.
cool.
So my joke is, God, have you guys played the PS2 game Guitar Man?
No.
No? Okay, it's a rhythm game, but basically the main character is this kid who kind of transforms like Sailor Moon style, except he turns into like a henshin hero, basically Todoroki if he was an anime.
Okay.
Cool.
So like basically the kid that they're having is basically Guitar Man because Sailor Moon and Todoroki had oh, it's great. Except they have a daughter, so it doesn't work out. But that would have been fun. Like he actually has a really good plot line where he's like, "Yo, I don't give a shit about the world. I have a family. I gotta protect them." You know. But the point is, he just shows up way too late. He gets like what 3 episodes, where it's like first he's like, "Oh shit, there's this wizard stuff." Next episode, he's kind of a jerk. Third episode is like, "All right, I'll help you guys save the world," sort of thing. And it's like, come on, man. You should have given him more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like he had like good points because he's like, "Yeah, I'm just doing this to protect my family." It's just because it was so rushed. He's kind of the one that like most people don't like, even though like he has probably the best suit because the green ones always look good in Wizard's color scheme.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, well, I think that's all I really have to say about the mages.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
They were there.
Yeah, really the only one who served any real purpose beyond that stupid alchemic circle was Mayu.
Yeah.
And that one scene with the one Nito kept trying to rescue.
That's not true. I mean, the thing is, like, once the stuff with Nito at the end happens, like, the kid and him go looking for the belt. So, like, he's important after the thing. And, like, Mayu becomes, like, the guardian of the city, basically, with Rinko working for Section Zero after, like, Haruto takes off trying to find a resting place for the rim. So, like, they're important. It's just, like, well, Season 2 of Wizard would have been great. But, we didn't get Season 2 of Wizard.
No way, they had, like, one scene in the Gaim Wizard Sengoku battle movie, but that was it. Didn't really do much. They transform, they fight some, like, wise men clones, I think, and then like, they get their asses kicked, and that's it. Yeah, that movie.
I just watched that movie, actually.
Not a bad movie. I mean, Wizard's part was fine, but Gaim's part is where it gets really... Yeah.
Oh, you mean the Sengoku movie? Yeah, that movie. The Wizard part was pretty damn good. That was the best part of the movie. The Gaim part was pretty mediocre, honestly, and I was really sad by that.
The movie,
and then
that movie's just...
The war part was a mess.
Oh, so this isn't the soccer movie, or is this the
This is not the soccer movie. This is the movie War. The Wizard Guy movie War.
Oh.
Yeah. And
soccer movie didn't even have anything to do with soccer. That was also disappointing.
Yeah, but
I really liked the Guy movie personally, but that's...
I mean, the one writer... Okay, actually, that's not true. Black and Haruto both play soccer a lot. So, the 2 writers you should have had in that movie were not in that movie.
I just brought that movie because they were in it. The 3 mages were in it, but they didn't really do much. So.
Oh yeah. Like, it's been years
they were. I feel like they were in Wizard. They were in Wizard for like near the end. This is. It's kind of like with the fan service and like Power Rangers Megaforce. It's just reminder. It was just a reminder of people of, yep, this is a thing you remember.
Yeah, but I think that's usually what happens when you're like secondaries. Like even in the X-Aid Coast one, like Coast secondaries show up and they barely do anything. It's just kind of sad. But like it had like 5 other writers, so yeah, what are you gonna do?
So.
Oh, I guess we skipped over Wajima. Any thoughts? Like my thoughts are like he was good for what he did. Like he gave it a little.
He made the rings and he had a good moral conscience. What else is there to say?
The ring maker. He was a person that existed.
He existed. Yeah.
Yep. He made the rings and he had a good moral conscience.
I mean, he served
Yeah,
a
that's about
purpose,
it.
but character-wise, I just he was
The-
he had a few funny moments, but he wasn't really that memorable as a character.
This is
Yeah,
insane.
you get the feeling he's supposed to be like the person who's lived through life and does his job, and you think he'd be like the more grounded and reality person that would teach Haruto the morals that are all too human. But no, he just doesn't really do that. Like, I mean, sometimes he'll teach Haruto something, or he'll teach someone a lesson or something like that, but it's not very often.
Yeah.
So
That's just him. He made rings, you know.
I mean, the
yeah,
it was like he knew like White Wizard before and stuff, and like he has an okay plot line of like, oh yeah, I did this for money. And after this, I'm never doing anything for money, pretty much. Which is like, this whole mess started basically because of me, kind of thing. Um, but yeah, he was kind of just there. Vashi, any thoughts on Wajima?
Not that hasn't already been said. There wasn't a lot to him as a character.
All right.
Okay, for one last thing, like the Shunpei thing, like there were two ways. Like there was actually no three, whatever. There's the like, oh, he could have been the assistant, or he could have been like the ringmaker. The ringmaker thing, I also had the other thought of like when I was first seeing it, I was like, oh, I wonder if it's like Shunpei from the future, because he's like Haruto's assistant. Because like at the very beginning, like White Wizard and like Wise Man aren't like super connected, or at least you could still imagine they're two different beings. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe White Wizard just came back to give Haruto his driver, because we're having some sort of like Godspeed love thing going on from Kabuto, where it's like, oh, well, he's from like either some future or alternate timeline, where it's like Haruto's assistant is Shunpei, and Haruto teaches him everything, and then like in the future, Shunpei becomes a wizard and comes back and gives Haruto his driver. But like that didn't.
You're giving this show too
Did you
much
guys ever
credit.
have? Nah, I know, but like, did you guys have any theories like that?
No.
Really? No, like theory, like not just with that, but like any other, I don't know, like theory you had going, but that show didn't do at all.
I thought Beast was going to die.
no, I think it was pretty obvious that Koyumi was the one that was going to die. I think
Yep.
it was just from the blueprint of the previous three shows. Oh, she's the special one. She's the and like again, like. Her character was that she was soft and cute, and she had psychic powers and stuff like that, and she wasn't integral to the plot. Don't get me wrong, but my God, like, I don't hate her. She's cute sometimes, but what else really was to her character, like, just except the tragedy of her character?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, there were. Okay, there was that like good episode with like Wizard and it's Haruto and Koyumi go like shopping, and like he gets her like the hat. I thought they were just gonna build up like the romance, and that was really well done. But then like Koyumi's actress pretty much couldn't show up to do the show, and that's sort of why half like the middle of Wizard super drags along.
So was
like,
she in high school at the time?
No, I think what happened was like she was part of an idol group from her agency.
Of course she was part of an idol group. Of course she was.
Yeah. And then like apparently like at that time that Wizard was going on, and like you have to remember Wizard didn't have like great ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess like her idol groups, like her agency's like this idol group thing is really taking off. You should focus on this more, and like they wouldn't give her time to be on Wizard, and so like that's why she kind of disappears in the middle of the show.
Oh.
That makes sense.
That kind of sucks.
Which is a shame because building up like the romance between her and Haruto would have been made the ending even more impactful.
Wait, how old was she supposed to be in the show?
Um, um, I just looked up her wiki
There's
says
supposed to
she
be there's supposed to be a room him, her
her
and
her
Well,
Haruto.
they're
actress
both
Then
like
that's a bit
18 at
creepy.
least.
her
No, I mean like
actress is
Haruto's at least like college or whatever age, and like I think Koyomi is definitely like 18.
Okay, thank heaven.
okay.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
at least like
her
18 or whatnot. Because
her
I don't think she's in high school because like she was just a sick kid.
yeah,
But like I think she.
Yeah.
yeah, her actress was born in '93, so
Well,
Okay.
that doesn't. Even then, I mean, Wizard is what like.
So she would have been 20 while
Yeah,
Wizard
yeah.
was.
I mean, like
That's what I started sharing.
Shunpei, you have to remember, is in college or just entered college, so like they're all like college age or older.
All right. No. Okay. That's all I wanted to know. I just wary or stuff like that. So that's all. Not a big deal. Anywho.
Yeah, let's talk more about Koyomi. She's next.
All right. Yeah. Well, again, I think I pretty much summed up how I feel. She's not bad. She can be cute, and I like, and like there are things about her I like, but other than that, there's not really much to her character, just other than the tragedy of a character. What you find out about her, that she's pretty much just she's pretty much just a doll. It's not even the real Koyomi. It's just a doll with the basic imprint of Koyomi's personality, I think. And like not even the White Wizard really acknowledged her as her daughter until he actually revived her, which is pretty, it's kind of sad because when it comes to the White Wizard's backstory, he is pretty sympathetic. I do understand why he did all these horrible things just to get his daughter back. Don't get me wrong, he really he shouldn't have done these things in the first place, but you understand why. Like there's a reason why like I think you call him an anti-villain, and it makes a lot of sense because he's doing horrible things for a good cause. And yeah, but when you see him talk to Koyomi, it's just like you just look like my daughter. You're just a doll. You only exist for my means. And I'm just your daughter's been dead for years. Okay, your daughter's been dead for years, and you finally have something similar to her.
Not
but like
years. She died like right at the beginning. Oh, actually no. Like Wizard got his powers 6 months ago, so like probably a year ago she died. So it hasn't been that long.
Okay, well I forget she died as a teenager, right? She didn't die as a kid. I forget when the original.
She was
Koyomi
sick
died
as a kid,
again.
at least.
Yeah, I know she was sick as a kid because the first set of flashbacks you see of her and her father is when she's a kid. So
yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, it does make some sort of sense because, like, you don't ever see Koyomi's mom. So I think, like Koyomi's dad, like White Wizard, pretty much like, okay, I've been through this shit once. I'm not doing this again.
I think he actually says that to her. Like, I'm not going to let it happen to you as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Like for me, I didn't mind Kiyomi as character. It was just because of her schedule, the lack of character development and or rushed development due to the timetable. She was actually, for as much as they had to work with for her, she was a great character for what they had to work with. It's just because of the timetable, certain strings of plot got dropped and or changed to fit the timetable.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had the potential to be the best character on the show. She just didn't get enough screen time because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the tragedy of like Koyomi's character is like, one, she's a tragic character, but two, like her actress is really good, but like she doesn't get enough screen time to do her stuff. And the thing is, like, she pretty much had like potential to be like best writer or love interest because like in the beginning when she's there, like they're great, and like they're doing like really small things, and it's good. Like it's building, and like you could see why Wizard would do all this stuff just to help her out, because like she's kind of like his one link to like sort of the normal world, but also like the one person he can say pretty much anything to because they've been there since the beginning. Because he just thinks, oh, she's just another human being who like went through this ritual, except like something went wrong for her, right? Like he doesn't think she's a doll. He just thinks she's just another human who survived.
Okay.
And like
So,
she's really useful in the beginning, and then they had that like one episode where it was great. I was like, man, this is awesome, and then she just disappears from the show. I mean, like she's there, but like it's mostly like you can tell that's just edited in. Like we shot these all at once. Now we're just spacing them out. Sort of thing, and it's like, oh, this is so sad because like they like because you see them in like Wizard and Magic Land and stuff, and they're great. And it's like, if this show was just this, it would have been awesome.
yeah, you all seem to interpret the relationship between Koyomi and Haruto as romantic. I never saw it that way. I just saw it as very like close sibling thing. I never saw it as
I-
romantic.
See, I didn't see it as romantic early on. I just saw it as like the foundation for it. But by the end of the series, you can tell it was supposed to be romantic because he pretty much acts like he's losing his girlfriend.
I mean, I wasn't like super seeing it as romantic. It's just like I know it's like, well, main hero, you're clearly the love interest. That's where they're going with this.
All right. Well, I never saw it as that. I saw it as a sibling thing.
Yeah.
It's mostly
I
just
thought-
because it's mostly just because Ryder doesn't really do romance
Yeah, it's like
like all that
personal.
often.
Well-
So
Personally, I just didn't really care for the relationship.
like me neither. Like it was just sort of like if I don't know how to describe it. I just didn't really care all that much. Like I didn't really feel like there was much to it personally. Like I don't know. I really don't know how to describe what my issue with it is.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't
I think
care
I
about
like it. Yeah, I think I like it so much. It's because like out of all the writer like romance stuff, it's probably one of the better ones. Like really up there because most of the time it's like, oh, we basically have no romance, or oh yeah, random character we've introduced, you are now love interest, or the worst, like yes, you were a good character, but now you've stepped into the love interest zone, therefore all your good traits are pretty much gone. That kind of sucks. Like I mean, it's still not gonna beat the best, which is still like Kuga, but Kuga just has great writing for everything with like shit, I don't remember their names. This is terrible. Like chief police scientist lady and like Gene, like the male researcher dude.
Yeah.
They had like pretty awesome plot line.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
Alright.
Yeah, but as any other thoughts on Koyomi?
No.
No, I
Um.
think we pretty much said everything that
She-
needs to be said. But
She was a good character. She just needed more screen time. So that just leaves Wiseman. And with him, let's talk about like the final plot and his big plan. So, as we said before, the reveal of like, oh, he's also the White Wizard, predictable, like so early on. Especially when it's like, all right, so Koyomi is his daughter. His plan of like, all right, let's just kill everyone and hope that I got enough people that were gates to save her. I can understand like his desperation in it. It's just so extreme.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the point. He's doing so many horrible things to save his daughter. Like it is the epitome of selfishness, but
Yeah.
also selflessness in its own way. But I think mostly selfish because like she died. There was really nothing he could have done about it. But he basically just like he basically just ended. But he was so desperate he ended up playing God. You know, like finding ways, finding how to use magic in a technical way and stuff like that. Like he just went so damn far, and it's very like callous too. Like when he fucked up the first time, like he grabbed the only person that survived there, basically dragged him out, and it was just like, here's your magic belt and the magic bitch. Good luck. Clean up my mess. So
But
yeah,
I don't think that's what his plan there was. It's more like, okay, I need phantoms, basically spirit energy. And okay, well, the phantoms I knew were gonna happen, but this wizard shit, what the fuck is that? And that kind of threw a chink in his thing, and he's like, all right, guard her until I figure out what I do. And then he realized, like, oh yeah, well, I don't actually need the phantoms. The wizards are much more energy, like give much more energy to this whole thing. And then like that still wasn't working, so I was like, you know what, fuck it. At this point, like I don't give a shit what happens. Like she's coming back to life no matter what. So like if I have to sacrifice this whole damn town, why not? And that's sort of the whole thing with Wizard, where like you guys said, like it's the whole formula of like, oh, each, you know, like since Double, we've had this thing of like this character dies and they come back, and the whole thing with Wizard is like, no, they don't. You know, we're not doing this. We have the power to bring them back, but like that's the wrong decision in this case.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's sort of what it builds up
It's
to.
just when you think about it, yeah, his character seems mostly just seems to be like his plan. He's pretty much just an old sad man that lost his daughter, and he just went into, and he's just very desperate to get him back. Like he might have been the big bad of the season, but he didn't have much character. It's why that despite him being the main driving force of the plot when it comes to like the villainy and stuff like that, Grandma was still a much more interesting villain.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I don't hate the White Wizard. My main problem with him is just, again, he was predictable, and I like his plan because like it's very desperate, and I just like really dark stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I get a kick
I
out of
think
it.
what happened is
But-
like because in the beginning, you remember like Koyomi brings him like a stone, or like no, he gives her a stone and stuff, and like she goes walking the forest, and they have like scenes where they're kind of developing both the characters. I think we were supposed to get a couple more of those, but then like she wasn't there. So like there's a little in the beginning, and there's a lot with just her dad at the end. But like all the stuff in the middle is gone, so I think that's why we didn't get that much with Wise Wizard. As for like why he's not talking to the Phantoms, like he doesn't care about the Phantoms. That's the whole thing,
yeah,
right? Like
Okay.
like he's not the typical like I'm here to beat the heroes. He doesn't give a shit. Like he doesn't care if the Phantoms die. He just wants more wizards to be made.
yeah.
Because-
I will admit I do like him just purely because it's a very like he's definitely more unique of a villain because like previous Rider villains, like, well, not all of them were conquering or wanted to cause chaos, but it was definitely a lot more unique than say the Greed, which they just wanted to, you know, like I guess eat people in a way. They just wanted to feed off emotions, and then and
Well,
then like with and then like
I think
with
the Greed just wanted to be complete because they were split up.
Yeah,
So they
something
just wanted
like
to
that,
come
but-
back to life.
Something like that, but yeah, or just, you know, villains or just evil for the sake of evil, which I don't really think we've had a lot in Rider, have we?
Go back where it's like the Gronk
The
Blade.
CEO guy in Blade.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but he just wanted to become like the ultimate human. Like he wasn't evil.
Yeah,
He was kind of just like Dan, except
That's-
slightly
don't get me
less
wrong,
great.
don't
No,
get
no,
me-
no.
and
He
don't get me-
was. He
And don't
was.
get me wrong, like I don't have a problem with villains who are evil for the sake of evil, but like I just kind of prefer ones that have like, you know.
Oh, the one in Drive, definitely.
There was also
yeah.
that weird guy in Deno.
Yeah, I forget his
No,
name.
Leo.
Whatever.
So-
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I have nothing. Like Riley said, I have nothing against like villains that are just evil because they're evil, but they have a very charismatic. Like the Joker, he's just evil because he's evil. He just wants to spread chaos. He doesn't really give a shit what he does. And there's nothing wrong with that because the Joker himself is very damn charismatic. You love seeing him cause chaos and misery. So yeah, but when it comes, but I prefer more layered villains. With shades of humanity because why was it he does have humanity because he wants his daughter back. It's understandable. Like if I lost someone, I would try as hard as I can to get them back that in whatever way possible. I don't think I'd massacre thousands of innocents to do it, but
I mean, to be fair, like his original plan wasn't that terrible because he's like, all right, I need to bring my daughter back. I need like 20 people. That's fucked up, but people would do that. Like, it's just that whole original plan fell apart. That's why he had to do like this insane plan at the end, which just like escalated and he didn't have time and like all this fell apart.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, he's probably a very unique villain, but the thing is like, because he's not typical, he's also slightly weaker because like he doesn't do anything that much. Besides like I send out the monsters.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I really don't have anything. For me, his character's the White Wizard aspect of him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, because like the wise man aspect is not as interesting. Like he was supposed to be like a double agent. He was keeping an eye on both like the Riders and the Phantoms, but like.
But
I feel like the wise man aspect of it was a bit wasted.
yeah.
I don't know.
Like his entire character between the both of them literally came down. I'm just gonna dick with both sets of these people so that way they do what I need them to do.
Yeah.
Beyond that, he served no purpose
I mean,
as wise man.
Yeah, to be fair, like they didn't cast the actor, like his human form, till like really late. So yeah, if they like given him like a human form, like Gremlin and those guys, and like Peridot, like they might have had more of a character arc. But like how like Phoenix and Medusa have like human forms, but like Wise Man didn't until like the last arc, and so like yeah, that's kind of bad planning, I guess, on their part. He might have had more.
Wait,
things to
they
do.
didn't. Wait, he was casted late.
Was he?
Yeah, he was cast like in the final arc, dude. Like
Oh,
that's why like if you look at the voice acting, it's like he has like White Wizard and Wise Man have like 3 different voice actors.
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
I remember that. Like I remember, the writer wiki like during the time period because I was trying to see reasons to not suspect White Wizard being Wise Man, and they both had different voice actors. So I was like, oh, they're both voiced by different people. They must not be the same person. No.
Yeah, that's the same thing that on Kamen Cast when they were doing the wizard thing. It's like, yes, it can't be the same guy because the voice actors are different. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. So I was a very naive child.
No, it's fine. It's like, yeah, I think they didn't cast him until they needed like a human face, which is only in the final act.
Yeah, I really was a child back then. I was like, what? This was like 2012, so I was like, what, 16? Yeah.
I think what kills Wise Man as a character, at least up until the final arc, is the fact that it's so laid out there that him and the White Wizard are the same person. Like, if they wouldn't have kept having the freaking Cerberus there, it would have been more of a surprise that they're the same, and it would have made you more interested in what the actual plan was.
Oh yeah, the Cerberus thing really made it damn obvious. It's like there weren't even fucking trying. It's like they were trying to subtly hint at the reveal, but it was not subtle. It was like a hammer to the face.
It's like it was
I mean-
almost like, oh,
It's like if you
made
didn't figure
realize-
it out, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
right? Like, because if you would have taken the Cerberus out, then it would have left. Okay, well, the Phantoms are up to their own thing, and then the White Wizard's off doing his own thing, and find out, oh, it's all one part of the one big circle. Whereas because of the Cerberus thing, and you're just sitting there going, okay, what's he doing that's going to involve Phantoms and mages? Because
Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
that he's playing both ways, and it screws up the mystery.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't think they were like super playing on like, oh no, who is White Wizard? Like, I don't think the show was trying that hard
Like,
because they're like, what's the point?
I like early series Wiseman because he's mysterious. He gives these vague orders to Medusa, like, just do what I say, that's all you need to worry about, and you don't see much of him. And so it kind of, like, leads into, like, well, what does he have up his sleeve? Like, what can he do? It doesn't get your expectations up. And it's a really good setup for a different reveal. Like, having Wiseman just be his own thing, rather than like, oh, he's actually also this character.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the most annoying part is like, it's got good setup, and the suits, like both Wiseman and White Wizard suits, are great.
Oh yeah, they really
It's just
are.
it doesn't go anywhere for a really long time.
So, I because I did expect Beast to die at the end of the series, I was shocked to find that not only does he live, but seeing him release Chimera to eat the energy causing the second Sabbath was actually a really good scene for me.
Oh man, that was like one of the best like Heisei Rider moments, or actually Rider moments at this point. I mean, the only one that kind of tops that is like what, Blade at this point.
I don't think anything will top Blade's ending. That's too good.
Yeah.
Blade's ending is still perfect.
Are we pretty much done here? Does anyone else have anything to say? We've talked about the plot,
No.
the characters.
I was just gonna say like, yeah, go ahead.
I think we pretty much said everything.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say like, did you guys have any like phantoms that you like throughout the series that aren't like the main, like 3 or 4 that you guys remember or had any like
No,
just the design or the gimmick or anything?
No, I mean the only thing else I remember, I like the comic relief do at a donut shop, but who cares about them?
Poitrine.
Yeah.
That was a shock for me when I watched the Forza Wizard movie War, where he's like in this girl's underworld and he's helping her out, and he like catches her interest, and then back to the world, it's the transvestite donut shop owner.
I thought that was really fucking stupid.
That got me.
I hate Ultimatum. I hate it with a burning fucking passion. So,
I mean, Ultimatum is not that bad, but yeah, like my thing with that is like, I've heard a theory where it's like, okay, the person like Potrine in the movie doesn't act actually like that character. So the theory is like, oh no, this person saw Potrine in the 90s or whatever when they were a kid, and this is their version of that character in their head. So that's why she acts different. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good theory.
That's pretty much how I
As
imagined
for-
her. Like, she was just imagining how she wanted to be.
Yeah. And the one thing I do like about Ultimatum is just like, it's so damn fun because they're like, oh, we actually have a budget, so let's do some magic shit and just have fun. Because like normal Rider fights aren't like this, but in that movie it's like, yeah, we have a magical girl and Kamen Rider Wizard team up, and it's awesome. well, for the most part. Um, but otherwise, it's pretty harmless. I don't know. Like the one Phantom I do remember is like Legion, the one that's like locked up, like Wise Man locked up because he's too crazy and he just like
Yeah.
Oh
kills people.
yeah.
I was gonna say
Because
him earlier.
yeah, that guy, he's from Kiva, the bishop.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh.
Oh.
yeah. He's actually like a DJ in real life or something. That's pretty cool.
Oh wow. That's cool.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird. um, he man, that was such a fun episode. I especially love how he like goes after Beast. Is like, "Oh, you're not beautiful. Piss off," pretty much. And then like Beast gets really pissed off throughout the whole episode. Oh man, that was so much fun.
the
Yeah,
only
I think that's the only one.
the only other like Phantom that just stuck with me for some reason was the cat monster that was really lazy and just didn't want to do it, but Medusa and Phoenix kept making him try.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard like a lot of complaints from like Western fans, like, "Oh, isn't this like sort of racist or stereotypical because you're making like the black character lazy?" I'm like, Japan does not have that stereotype. You know, he's acting like that because he's a cat. So yeah, that was pretty fun. When he's just like super lazing around. I think some of the other ones are just like the early ones where it's like, yeah, like Shunpei, like, like
The
Shunpei's first episode and the one with his friend.
the
Those are
first
pretty,
arc
like,
Phantoms are
fucked
just
up.
more interesting because you learn more about them, whereas the later ones are just alright, try to kill the gate, okay.
I mean, the one other interesting thing was like that one episode where the gate solved the problem himself, which is like Haruto's teacher.
Oh, that was such
Where
a
he,
good
like-
one. I don't even
Yeah,
remember.
he just
Oh, right, the Phantom in that one was actually really lame.
yeah, he was lame, but he just like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't need this stupid plane, and he just smashes it. Because
Just-
he's like, hey, look, man, you're a toy collector. You have all these toys. You're not even letting your kid play with it, and this toy is meaningful to me, but it's not more meaningful than people's lives. And he just like smashes the damn thing. That was so cool.
That's about you pay attention to your kid, your son, that living thing.
That's in your house. It's living in the same
Don't-
house
that-
as you.
You lose a toy, you could replace it. You can't replace him.
This is a note to all toku collectors. Don't, put more value in your toys than your kid. Don't just plop them in front of Kamen Rider. Buy him a toy or two.
Hmm.
So, how come Kamen Riders always get like the cool teachers? Because none of my teachers were that cool.
I don't know. I had
Because it's a
decent teachers.
drama?
I had decent teachers.
Like even Kuga had the like thumbs up teacher.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, he's cool. I think it's because like we have to like. Here's the thing: they're not gonna put a teacher who's like horrible because like it's boring. It's too expected. Unless like it's Forze or it's like I guess like a sad thing. I don't know. I don't know that
Straps
much about
teacher.
Forze. But like it's, I don't know. It's the only one that makes sense. But like most of the other ones where it's like okay, to be honest, they are. Oh, you know what's funny? You're like, oh, right, that thumbs up teacher from Kuga. Okay, he's in black. He's in Kamen Rider Black,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like working for. He's like a monster, right? And he's like a college professor who like has to feed on the blood of people. So he like tricks. Like he doesn't like being the monster, but he's like, well, I need this to fucking live.
Oh,
So like I'll
That's
kill
actually
college
really
students
cool.
to do it.
oh man,
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
I'll watch that episode of
Um,
Black.
Yeah. He's a teacher in something else. Oh. Is it Coast or something? I don't remember.
You know what? Let's see if we can't look it up.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. There's also the one in like Fies where he's the guy who actually ran over Kiba. And because he was jealous. There's also the one in yeah. So you're like, oh, why are all the teachers great? It's like because early Heisei teachers were assholes apparently. There's also the one in like Agito, who like Gills is like swimming teacher, like gym teacher, who like tells the students in the gym to go bug like Gills when he comes in to like tell him to piss off. And then like it later cuts to the students talking to the teacher. It's like, yeah, we did what you told us to do. Because he's like Gil shows him like his like he transforms from his human to his like Gil's form, and he like freaks like the teacher freaks out, and he just like the next day when Gil's comes to like the club, he just tells him to like basically chase him off, you know, tell him to never come back, and then you think, oh, it's just the kids being assholes, but it's like no, the teacher told him to do it. So it's like, yeah, I mean, we haven't had asshole teachers in a while, but like it's kind of too predictable unless you're gonna go all in with
Look,
like some crazy story arc, which we don't really do.
okay,
Yes, go ahead.
that teacher was in Blade. Uh, the character's
Yeah,
name was
yeah,
Yu Ichinose, but there isn't a page link for it.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think Blade makes more sense. Also, like Ozawa was in Blade. Holy shit, she looks like she's about to fall over. Um, because like in Agito, she looks all like adorable and like, but she'll kick your ass. In Blade, she looks way more serious but way more skinny. So I'm like, holy shit, Ozawa, are you like eating okay? Like I feel like if you bend over, you'll snap in half or something. Because she's like the photographer. You know how oh my god, I remember nobody's names. Chalice, human form. What's he called?
Hajime.
Yeah, Hajime like decides to become a photographer, and like she trains him because like she was the partner of like the father
Yep.
figure of like the house. Yeah, so she's in that episode, and she looks so weird. Blade also has like Kaori from the Garo franchise, and she's like one of the undead. It's so weird. Like Blade has a lot of recurring characters. Like maybe not as much as Kabuto, because apparently Kabuto has everyone, pretty much.
Seems like we're done talking about Wizard, though, so you feel like wrapping this up?
Yeah. All right. I'll just give my final opinions on Wizard. Wizard is a fine show. It's very inoffensive. I don't care about Wizard all that much. Nothing about it pissed me off. There are some things I like about it, and there's only one real thing that made me mad, and that was Phoenix's death scene. But whatever. At the end of the day, Wizard's fine. If it's someone's favorite writer's show, I'm not going to raise an eyebrow. But someone's least favorite, I'm not going to raise an eyebrow. Not in the first place because it's all onions. But at the end of the day, Wizard's fine. I don't care about Wizard. I don't think about Wizard. Wizard just exists to me. Like 2013 was a very vacant year for Kamen Rider, if I can basically put it that way, because Wizard is not very important to me. It has some good things. I like the toys from Wizard, but that's really about it. I like the ring gimmick, and I like the aesthetic, and I like the weapons and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Wizard's fine. There are better writers, there are worse writers, and at the end of the day, Wizard is Wizard. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's Wizard for me.
Yeah.
One last thing. What did you think? We didn't talk about his final form because we talked about Beast's power up. We didn't talk about his ultimate. What did you guys think of it?
I liked Infinity.
Yeah, Infinity was a great looking form. It's really sexy.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the aesthetics.
What I really like about Infinity is that it came out of himself. Like, that is his own power. No one gave that to him. No one did that for him. He did that himself.
Yeah, the only thing silly about it is that it came from his tears. But whatever, Tokyo's supposed to be silly, so...
Take a look. Do you see any tears?
Oh, we're gonna have this Akiba Ranger thing of like they try to do the tier thing, but it just hits the mask.
Yeah. But yeah, Wizard, it's a show. I don't hate it. I've seen far worse from Rider. But at the end, it's like, you know what? It was Yeah, it's probably one of my lesser favorites, but it's it's I don't hate it.
Yeah,
Blech,
at,
that's all I
at
can
least
say.
at least it gave us Haruto and they're pretty. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say out of my least favorites, this one is the lesser of the evils.
yeah, this show didn't really do anything wrong besides be predictable, really. And well, predictability is not necessarily a bad thing, right? It just really depends on how badly predictable it is, like how annoyingly predictable it is. And it wasn't annoyingly predictable; it was just predictable.
Yeah.
Wizard isn't going on my top 10 list, but it wasn't that. Like it, as Zero had been telling me, it wasn't that bad. Like the first arc is actually really good and my favorite part of the show, and it does have a pretty good ending. The problem is that like after Phoenix is killed off, you could skip like quite a few episodes and not miss anything.
Yeah, I do
Like,
agree with that.
like for me, Wizard's not a bad show. It's certainly not a great show. It's just kind of a meh.
Yeah.
It, it's and it's not that it's bland. It's just forgettable. And pretty much the only two things I hated about his final form was the fact of that fucking gaudy fucking diamond on the top of his head and the overuse of it to start with.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I don't like about the final form too. It's just the diamond, but like all the forms kind of have rings. It's just Infinity just has it right in the middle. I mean, on top it's not super great, but otherwise that form is great. Also, he has a high five axe, which is basically a Megazord killer, so that's always awesome. Um, yeah. Um, Otherwise, as a whole, like it's a good. Oh, well, not good. It's an okay show. It could have been a great show if, like, if people let the show be the show. It could have been great. If not, it could have been good. But right,
If
as it
the
is, it's yeah, I know. As it is, it's just an okay show. Like yeah, like you guys said, like the beginning is good, and then you could pretty much skip the middle until the mages start showing up. So yeah, man, the worst part is like it's got really good. Like okay, here's the thing: if you want to watch Wizard, just watch Wizard in Magic Land. Right? Yeah, you miss some of the cool characters and other cool moments from the show, but like the majority of the characters are done really well. I mean, the Phantoms kind of get a little shafted, but like, it's fine. You can look up those fights and those moments if you want to from the show. Because, I don't know,
if you're
man.
not
I
gonna
think
watch
I'm
Wizard,
just
then look up Wizard versus Phoenix.
yeah, yeah. That's probably the highlight. It's just I kind of really like magical based heroes, and Wizard did like such a good job. It's just I wish it like could have done its full potential instead of getting like fucked over, and so it's really kind of frustrating.
That-
But otherwise, like I'm not gonna like even though I like it so much, I'm not gonna tell you to go out and watch it because it's gonna change your mind. It probably won't. Like even me liking it so much, I wouldn't say like it's great.
I
It's got problems,
I guess that's ultimately
but
why I don't think the series is that bad. Is that I like the potential that the series has.
yeah, I mean, better to have not lived up to full potential than like not even tried. So at least there's something. At least it followed its themes well enough, so that's good. It didn't veer off into the opposite direction. Um, but like, yeah, man, I wish Toei hadn't fucked with this show. It would have been great.
I really have nothing else to say.
All right,
Same.
she start us off at
Um, First of all, I want to thank all of you guys for joining me on this, mainly because this was a side project that I decided to do
No, no problem.
while
No
working with
problem.
Toku Portal and their podcast, which is, speaking of which, everybody here that's on the podcast, Chatty Horse, Rye Guy, Zero, and Drago, who actually ended up having to leave. Um, they're all part of the Super Sentai and Kamen Rider podcast over on Toku Portal. Please go check it out. We do podcasts every Tuesday and Wednesdays for Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, respectively, and it's a lot of fun. And it's pretty much this, just on a 30-minute episode rather than a 3-hour podcast.
Okay.
Wait. We'll let the second podcast do the shout out to theirs before we end it.
Go ahead, and if you guys want to sign off, go ahead.
I'm Rye Guy. You can, if you want, you can subscribe to my channel at I'm Rye5 Guy on YouTube. So yeah.
Rye5 Guy on YouTube.
No,
Yeah.
no, just Rye5 Guy.
There's literally a 5 in his username between Rye and Guy.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it got through clearly, the audio.
Yeah.
I am lexical medley. My Discord name is just Chatty Horse because I wanted to like vary up my username so it's not too terribly easy to find me on on other social media. Any reason why? I don't know. My YouTube channel is lexical medley. I really don't know what I'm doing on there right now. I used to do reaction videos, and I still do every now and again. I know that's very derivative to some people, but I have fun doing them. I really don't know what else I'm going to do on my channel. I'm still figuring out what I want to do, but if you want to check out my reaction videos, go ahead. It's lexical medley on YouTube. I mostly do My Little Pony stuff, so if you're into ponies like I am, then please check it out. So yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll go and then you can turn us off. Yeah, I'm just Zero. You know me. I'm from Toku Portal. Right. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Hopefully, we weren't too rambly.
Okay. So yeah, I'm Rai from Toku Portal. You might recognize me from the Sentai Cast or the Rider Cast. On this channel, we had previously done a podcast on Adventure Time. So if that's a show that interests you, you can go check that out. Other than that, I'll see you back on Toku Portal.
Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again